Catch has to step downfield. And he'll go for the assist as well. From one layout to another, the AlleyCats find a way to get it done.
High-powered point there.
Going for Havey. Havey's able to get there! On Betch dives and he got it! Oh my goodness, Nicholas Betch.
Catch has to step downfield. And he'll go for the assist as well. From one layout to another, the AlleyCats find a way to get it done.
High-powered point there.
Going for Havey. Havey's able to get there! On Betch dives and he got it! Oh my goodness, Nicholas Betch.
We're Carp Homes. Let us take the pain out of selling your home. We pay cash for your house as is. You don't touch a thing. Leave all repairs and cleanup to us. Homegrown right here in Indy. We're local and reputable, and we care about our city and neighbors. Our team comes to meet with you in person to evaluate your property, resulting in getting you the best possible offer. Call Carp Homes today or visit our website to learn more.
Welcome to Goodman House, a locally owned, award-winning, and family-friendly microbrewery and coffee house located just northwest of downtown Indy. With over 20 delicious beers brewed on site, from hazy IPAs and fruited sours to the best-selling Guggenweizen and Hefeweizen and Riverside Hazy IPA. Pick your own flight of beers, order your grub from the cabin kitchen, and enjoy a day in the beer garden. We invite you to experience Goodman House. Learn more at GoodmanHouseBrewing.com and follow along on Instagram at Goodman House Brewing.
New players on the team this year. That's shaping probably something new Like you didn't know what to expect with this chemistry. How are you feeling about that chemistry?
As far as chemistry, when you've got this much of a group that's unfamiliar with one another, you have to lean into what I would coin artificial chemistry. So traditional chemistry is, hey, you and I have known each other and played together for a decade. Artificial chemistry, I believe, can still be valuable, but that looks more like we are going to be fairly rigid at the beginning about our system and where we go and when I can expect you to be there, because that's going to breed confidence. If I know for sure where you're going to be, that breeds confidence in me, and that can generate what we call artificial chemistry. Hopefully what that builds is a natural chemistry, which can evolve from that. But we've got to lean into what we have right now, which is discipline and system, and hope that that kind of takes root and germinates some kind of real chemistry.
Maybe talk about natural grass over turf.
I personally love playing in natural grass over turf. When you lay out on natural grass, a lot of times you stand up feeling just fine. On turf, it feels like anytime I lay out, I'm picking up little nicky-nack injuries, whether it's a turf burn or a sprain or an ache or a bruise or something. So personally, I love natural grass, love the way it feels under the cleats. I think you can expect to see, especially at like a well-maintained field like Kuntz, you won't see any difference in performance that sometimes can be brought about by natural grass versus turf. I think that all you're going to see is players more willing to lay out, players more willing to take chances on discs because they know there's a softer cushion when they land.
Disc in your life, like what was it attracted you to that piece of plastic?
Well, first I learned to throw at camp. I learned to throw at camp of Michigan, and then I started playing my freshman year at College of Charleston, and I think it was the people. My team name, it was the College of Charleston Bums. We're the Charleston Bums, and I just embodied that bum energy. You know, we were just goofy kids. We were just goofy kids having fun, and that really I came to a school where I didn't know a single person, found these Frisbee guys, and I was like, I think that these are gonna be my best friends. And then moved to Louisville and got involved with a club team, and I knew some of those guys played pro and didn't really know about it, and that's how I ended up meeting the AlleyCats through some Louisville folks that play, and yeah, found the team that way.
Did you know, like, man, I'm really good at this. I think I could go take the next level and becomes club or against pro or because whatever. You know, when did that happen for you?
Yeah, I was never great at throwing to begin with. It was weird for me. Like I said, I played baseball, so switching the arm movement instead of up high going down to the side was a little weird. But I was a pretty good athlete in high school, and I had this big dude, the Serbian guy in high school, who had played in Serbia before he came to my high school. And he picked me freshman year. He was like, oh, I like this kid because I could catch. And he knew that when it came down to it, he could just send it out there, I'll go get it. And so that's when I was like, all right, pretty good. I became captain. I was like, all right, I want to do this in college. And then in college, I was like, I could maybe play pro here. I want to try to do it. And eventually made it happen. And so here we are, 4 years later now.
What's the difference between playing indoors, outdoors, and how does that affect the team?
Yeah, obviously weather will play a big factor between when it comes to outdoors versus indoors, but I'm excited for that for us, really. I think it gives our defense opportunity, obviously, to let the conditions play and shows the skilled offensive guys to make plays despite the weather. So I'm really excited for Kuntz, really. I've heard from the guys that have played there how exciting that place is, how it's close to a lot of our fans. I'm really hoping to have a packed house and a great energy at our games.
Why did you stay with Ultimate, though? Of all the other sports to play, why Ultimate?
Well, on my freshman year coming in, I knew how to throw. So a lot of the players that were rookies didn't have the forehand throw, and I was kind of good at it. I was kind of like good at Frisbee, and I was like, I've never been good at soccer, basketball, and was okay at lacrosse, and it was the first sport where I really actually enjoyed playing it so much and kind of succeeded at it, kind of played well, actually.
Can you talk about the offensive system a little bit?
Yeah. So, this year we're going to be, I think, much more of an aggressive style offense. We're going to be willing and looking to move the disc vertically downfield more. So you should expect to see some bigger shots and fast pace though. So we're going to be moving quickly, and I think it really plays well into the skill set of the guys that are on the team this year. So it'll highlight what we're good at, and should make it fun for the fans too.
Wildcats. What do you want to play pro?
Yeah. In the club season, as a member of leadership, a lot of my effort and energy goes into, mentoring young guys, developing strategies for the team as a whole. So my time with the AlleyCats, I get to lock in on me a little bit more, focus on my own development as a player, and it's just fun. I mean, like, playing in front of fans is not something that you get to do in club, so getting to do that is a big part of it as well.
What's the best part of your game?
I've always been a defensive player. I think, like I said, my speed, athleticism really helped me out with that stuff, and I'd really like to bring that onto the offensive side. I think that the same reasons I'm good at defense could be helpful on the offensive side, and I'm looking forward to improve my disc skills and really bring it up to the next level, because I think I could be pretty deadly on that side too.
We're Carp Homes. Let us take the pain out of selling your home. We pay cash for your house as is. You don't touch a thing. Leave all repairs and cleanup to us. Homegrown right here in Indy. We're local and reputable, and we care about our city and neighbors. Our team comes to meet with you in person to evaluate your property, resulting in getting you the best possible offer. Call Carp Homes today or visit our website to learn more.
Welcome to Goodman House, a locally owned, award-winning, and family-friendly microbrewery and coffee house located just northwest of downtown Indy. With over 20 delicious beers brewed on site, from hazy IPAs and fruited sours to the best-selling Guggenweizen and Hefeweizen and Riverside Hazy IPA. Pick your own flight of beers, order your grub from the cabin kitchen, and enjoy a day in the beer garden. We invite you to experience Goodman House. Learn more at GoodmanHouseBrewing.com and follow along on Instagram at Goodman House Brewing.
Betch has a step downfield, and he'll go for the assist as well. Goodman from one layout to another. The AlleyCats find a way to get it done.
High-powered point there.
AlleyCats back in front.
From his brother.
Going for Havey. Havey's able to get there. Betch dives, and he got it. Oh my goodness, Nicholas Betch. Could he have his man? Yes, he does. It is the final game of the regular season for these two teams, the Pittsburgh Thunderbirds and the Indianapolis AlleyCats, both with 3-8 records on the season, trying to end the season on a high note. Along with Kelsey Sparks, I'm John Herrick. Thank you so much for being with us tonight on WatchUFA.tv. Kelsey, two teams that are pretty big rivals that would love to get the upper hand on the other one before the season is over.
These teams have been playing each other for a really long time. The AlleyCats have the upper hand 13-9 all time, but the Thunderbirds had the dub earlier in the season in week 1. So AlleyCats looking to avenge that loss tonight and lock up 4th place in the division.
May 2nd was that win for Pittsburgh, and if the AlleyCats are going to do that, they're going to have to slow down several key playmakers for Pittsburgh, starting with their big man, Jonathan Mast, who is known as the human metronome to them.
The human metronome has been a Thunderbird for 9 seasons. Expect a lot of their offense to run through him. He leads the team in assists with 27. He is the franchise leader in completions as well. So he is no stranger to running the Thunderbirds offense.
You and I had a chance to visit with the head coach of the Thunderbirds, Max Borowski, and his assistant, David Berg. They talked about some things. What do you think are the keys to victory for the Thunderbirds tonight?
Coach Borowski said that on offense, they need to play with the whole field. Make sure to be multifaceted. It is a little bit windy tonight. Got a little bit of weather here, so make sure not to be deterred by that. And then on defense, they need to ramp up their defensive intensity. He said that when they're able to get out to a hot start and be intense, they are the team to beat, but sometimes they struggle to get out to a hot start.
For the AlleyCats, they are getting Seth Goodman back. Goodman was not here for last week's win against Detroit, but here he is back this evening. And Kelsey, what a season he's had. 14 assists, 24 goals, 17 blocks. What a well-rounded player he's become.
Goodman has just become a human highlight reel for the AlleyCats this season, getting it done on both sides of the ball. He's actually tied for 4th in the UFA in blocks with 17, and he leads the AlleyCats in goals as well with 24. He has been the force to be reckoned with, veteran leader on the field for the AlleyCats this season. Cats are going to look to him a lot tonight.
And let's look at the keys to victory for the AlleyCats. They're going to be led by their assistant coach, Nathan Busberg, tonight, and along with their assistant, Charles Allen, because Drew Shepard is not here. But here are some things that they talked about. What do you think is really standing out to them?
They said that they need to create pressure early. Coach Busberg said that we need to be up in their space immediately and set the tone physically. They also need to win the turnover battle. So the AlleyCats, when they turn the disc 20 times or less, are undefeated on the season. Thunderbirds, when they turn the disc 20 times or more, haven't won a game. That stat makes sense, but they want to win the 20 turnover battle.
So those are the keys to victory for both teams. A little bit about both teams as well. 3-8 on the year for both records for both squads. There's Frisbee, the AlleyCat mascot. Indianapolis scoring 17 points and allowing 24 on the season. For Pittsburgh, they're scoring 17 as well, allowing 22. All three of Indianapolis's wins have come over the Detroit Mechanics. So if you're Indy, you'd love to end the season with a win against somebody other than Detroit. And for the Pittsburgh Thunderbirds, they would love to get this 4th win of the season and close the season on a high note, where this has been a season for them where they largely have not met expectations, but they do have wins over Indianapolis, Detroit, and Toronto.
Yeah, Coach Borowski said that they haven't accomplished what they set out to this season, haven't really had the complete games they were wanting to have, but tonight they really want to focus on building on the strengths that they have established. He said tonight he has most of the core of his roster, and roster has been an issue for the Thunderbirds this season. They have 0 players that have played in every single game this year. Last year they only had 2. This year, 0. So need to build consistency with this core here going into next season.
And there is the poll conducted by Charlie Vukovic, a cutter for them. He is one of the more veteran guys on Pittsburgh, 4th year with them, 7 assists, 6 goals, and 6 blocks this season. And let's see what the AlleyCats can do here early on with their first possession with the disc. That's Jack Gall, who is holding on to it. What a season he's had. 4 assists, 14 goals, and 8 blocks, but the AlleyCats cannot convert. They turn it over right off the bat, and Pittsburgh with an opportunity. And picking it up is Connor Newell, who is a hybrid player. 8 assists, 4 goals, and 3 blocks on the year. The AlleyCat fans immediately start chanting defense, and got to feel great about the crowd that's been here despite the nasty weather we have had in Indiana all day today. Really, the whole state has gotten some rain at some point. It was a torrential downpour at times. And Pittsburgh is able to start off first with a goal and take an early 1-0 lead as they cash in on the break chance.
Quick break there for Pittsburgh, and that's exactly what they wanted to do, setting the tone defensively there.
There's what set it up. Gall's pass a little bit wide of Seth Goodman, and that is what led to this score for the Thunderbirds. Coming up with it there, Wyatt Kriske, and that's big for him because Wyatt, that's only his 2nd goal of the entire season. This is just the 3rd game that he is playing in, so really good start for him.
And he's having a breakout start to his UFA career. He came out with a goal, a block, and an assist in his first ever game in the win against Toronto. He picked up another block against Chicago a couple weeks ago, and he has 0 career turnovers thus far.
Reed Duncan with the pull that time for Pittsburgh. And the AlleyCats try to bounce back. They're having some trouble picking the disc up, but they're able to get it through and then give it right back to the Thunderbirds. So right away, 2 turnovers for the AlleyCats might be costly, but they do get it back. What a nice defensive play at the goal line.
Heroic effort from Ben Close to save what was a sure second break opportunity.
And Ben Landry able to pick it up first near the end zone. Low throw here. Did he get it off the ground? No, he did not. So that was Nick Pappas, who could not quite hang on to it. Pappas was out last week, but he returns this week, previously with Chicago before coming to Indianapolis. Pittsburgh close to scoring again, but the disc got batted down inside the end zone. So the AlleyCats are standing strong defensively. Now they got to find a way to turn these break chances into points, which has been an issue at times this year. In fact, the first time these two teams played each other, the Alleycats were just 3 for 23 on break percentages. And that one is dropped, unable to be held onto by Bradley Kinnis. And Kinnis hasn't had a ton of experience this year. He came over from Detroit. This is just his second game with the Alleycats this year. 2 assists and 1 goal. And now Pittsburgh with another opportunity. It's caught on the run by Aiden Landis. Still got to find a way to toss this one in, but the Pittsburgh Thunderbirds have struggled there, and right away you see their head coach, or one of their assistant coaches rather, come over. I think it was Reed Duncan as the player out there, but David Berg, the assistant, came over and said, timeout, let's regroup, let's get things switched around, and let's find a way to reset here.
I like that timeout call for a couple reasons. Obviously, you want the chance to get your O-line on the field, seal up 2 breaks to start the game and back-to-back points, but also stall count is starting to get a little high there. So let's get them off the field, draw something up, hit a quick reset when we come back. Good timeout call there by the Thunderbirds.
By the way, we mentioned Jonathan Mast at the outset as our player to watch, but being called the human metronome. And for those of you who don't know, metronome's a practice tool that produces a steady pulse to help musicians play rhythms accurately. And that's part of the reason why Mast has that nickname, because he steadies this team, steadies this offense. Whenever they are playing well, it's usually because Mast has them playing at the right pace. So, after the timeout by Pittsburgh, they have the disc on the goal line, but they've had it on the goal line a couple times already here in this first quarter, have not been able to get it across. Defensive pressure applied here by Ben Close. AlleyCats have to back up. Now that's Ryan Wartenberg playing some D. Over here, Malachi Marshall's got it. Toss to the end zone, might have a man, and he does. And it's 2-0 Pittsburgh off the bat, and this time it's John McGonigal coming down with it. He has his 17th goal of the season.
And he's having a heck of a season for the Thunderbirds. Coming into tonight, he was second on the team in goals, added to that number there. He's also 3rd in assists and 3rd in blocks. So he's a player that gets it done on both sides of the disc as well. And the Thunderbirds go up with 2 breaks to start the day.
And to your point earlier, Kelsey, about Pittsburgh not having a lot of continuity with so many guys out this year, McGonigal's one of the players that has provided continuity. He is playing in his 11th game. Of course, this is the 12th game for the team, so he's only missed 1 game, so McGonigal's helped provide that presence for them that they've needed. Anson Reppermond is the hybrid player conducting the pull here, and it's a beauty. AlleyCats have to try to find a way to settle down offensively. They had such a promising offensive start, but Jack Gall mistiming that pass to Seth Goodman. That turnover helped set up Pittsburgh's first point of the game, and now the AlleyCats trying to find something here. Pittsburgh won the first meeting 25-21. That was way back on May 2nd. They also have lost to Detroit, who Indianapolis has beaten 3 times.
And it's worth noting that this AlleyCats O-line has changed up a little bit today as well. Notably, they are missing Joey Carey tonight as well as Michael Ames that have been 2 solid handlers for them this season.
There's the throw down the field from Carson Chamberlain. He's got a man, and the AlleyCats get on the board. And I know you're shocked to see this, and it's Seth Goodman who helps the AlleyCats finally get in the end zone.
Let's go ahead and add another picture to the highlight reel for Goodman. That's why he's our player to watch tonight. Not only does he lead the team in so many of the stat categories, he also just shows up exactly when the AlleyCats need him most. So Seth gets it done, stops the bleeding, and now the Cats looking to get a couple of those breaks back.
Great atmosphere here in Indianapolis. We were concerned we might have a rain delay. We had a rain delay before last week's game, and some pretty nasty storms rolled through. We were wondering about attendance, but literally as we got into the 6 o'clock hour, all we had was mostly clouds and things dried up. So now the AlleyCats hoping to force a stop here and come back and possibly tie it. Jonathan Mast is the one who's got the disc here. He goes long down the field with it, looking for Alex Mullen, and it's taken away by the AlleyCats. AlleyCat defense is really starting to come alive. Nicholas Betch now has it. He hucks this one down the field. It's caught on the run by Jake Wall. Wall needs some help, and he floats it back to the end zone this time, and the AlleyCats have tied things up. It is Sam Ingham getting in for that goal.
AlleyCats get a break back, and they do it quickly, and none other than the rookie Sam Ingham getting the score. He's been such a bright spot for the AlleyCats this year while they've been rebuilding. I know we've highlighted him quite a few times this year. He has 15 assists on the season, so he gets it done both in the backfield and downfield.
And that was Jason Kemp taking away that disc there, forcing the turnover, and a well-placed throw by Ben Close to get it to Ingham. So that makes it a 2-2 tie between the AlleyCats and the Thunderbirds. So the AlleyCats struggled defensively in the first meeting between these two. Pittsburgh was 7 out of 27 on break chances for 26%. Indianapolis was just 13%. Pittsburgh also had 13 blocks to Indianapolis's 7, and Pittsburgh was 8 of 13 on Huck conversions at 62%. Indianapolis was a little below that at 50%, which was 10 of 20. So those were some of the key statistics that determined the win for Pittsburgh in the first meeting. As that disc goes out of play, so the Pittsburgh Thunderbirds get to bring it up to the brick here. Some good starting field position. Getting rid of it that time was Will Hoffenkamp. High throw, tipped and knocked away. Drew Hoppy showing some hops there, knocking that disc into the Pittsburgh Thunderbird bench. Now the Cats have a chance to get the lead. Goodman goes high for it.
Right when it seemed like all the momentum was on the Thunderbirds' side, the AlleyCats have a chance to get this game back on serve.
And Hoppy, by the way, just got his 4th block of the season. He had 3 blocks last week against Detroit.
And the Cats are so excited to have him back in uniform after he tore his ACL last season. It's great to have him back.
Goodman with the underhand toss, and the AlleyCats have the lead. They come back from 2-0 down to get in front. Nice lunging grab there by Owen Woodward, who just got his 6th goal of the year, playing in his 4th game this season.
Quick work there by the AlleyCats on that break opportunity as well. We see that D again from Drew Hoppy.
And Owen Woodward, I feel like we didn't see a ton of him early in the season, but he's really come on late. He had a goal late in that game last week over Detroit to help seal the win. And he's really, I think, integrating himself well with this team, Kelsey.
He is, and not to sound like a broken record, but hey, that's another young guy that the AlleyCats are really excited about. No secret that the AlleyCats have been rebuilding this season after some notable departures. Cameron Brock, a lot of guys retired. Travis Carpenter, Rick Gross, Levi Jacobs, Nick Hutton, to name a few. So it's been next man up in Indianapolis, and it's good to see a lot of these young guys stepping up and making a name for themselves.
Travis Carpenter was good enough to join us last week as the poll goes out of bounds there. He joined us in the second quarter. He's part of the AlleyCat ownership group, and he said these guys are coming along nicely. He said they remind me a lot of the team that we had in 2012 when I first started as an AlleyCat. So that was really good to hear from Travis, to know that the trajectory of this team is definitely on the upswing. We'll see how things go into next season. Jonathan Mast initiates the offense for Pittsburgh. Sliding grab by Repperman. Again, that field's got to be pretty wet after all the rain that's fallen today. Alex Mullen comes back to get the disc now. And he's fronted immediately by Ryan Wartenberg. Lucas Storm's got it. Storm, a defender with 9 assists and 9 goals, but also 4 blocks. And that throw looked a little wobbly coming out as he was trying to get it to Hoffenkamp, unable to complete the pass. Turnover on the Thunderbirds. Opportunity again for Indianapolis. So ever since the Thunderbirds took that early 2-0 lead, things have just sort of fallen apart for them, and the AlleyCats are really starting to turn it on. Ingham's got it near the sideline. A little bit of a risky pass, but Kemp comes up to get it. Tries to hit Ingham in the end zone. Ingham chases it down for the score. 4 points in a row for Indianapolis. 2 goals now for Sam Ingham.
Another quick work of the break opportunity for the AlleyCats. They put it up that sideline the entire time, but it was open. I was looking for a swing pass, but look, nobody is guarding Sam Ingham. He makes it look easy to get his second score of the day.
That throw was almost like, hey, I'm going to throw it where it's going to be and trust that Ingham is going to get there. And Ingham has shown with his speed all throughout the season that he can get there.
When we had Travis in the booth last week, he was specifically talking about how excited he was about Sam Ingham. He said he's a really, really tall guy, but he moves like a smaller, faster guy. He just has so much athleticism about him. We were comparing him to Rick Gross, longtime AlleyCat.
Cats opt for the rolling pull this time from Drew Hoppe. So now we've seen this happen a few times this year where it's backfired. You try the rolling pull, try to pin the opposing player up near the sideline, bring a double team, get your defense set. But we've seen some hucks lead to scores out of this. We'll see if that happens here. And the man who's trying to get the offense going is Connor Newell. He's able to get the disc away to Charlie Vukovic. Pittsburgh able to get out of it. Now we have a whistle and what? The referee is turning around and saying something to the Pittsburgh bench.
It looks like he might have misheard a timeout call. I think he thought the Thunderbirds wanted a timeout, but that was not the case. So they're just going to reset from here.
Yeah, I was going to say, typically you would not see a timeout in a situation like this. That would be off a break or a turnover to try to get your line out there that you would want. So,
especially not when changing the angle of attack like that as well. The refs kind of did a disservice to the Thunderbirds there because they had some momentum swinging the field.
Jake Murray was fronted well there by Owen Woodward. Wyatt Kriske comes over to get it. And that wind is playing a little bit of havoc with the disc. It was really intense when Kelsey and I were down there talking to players and coaches before the game. And even though it's not raining, the wind has picked up sometimes out of nowhere.
So hammer throws like that are going to be tough. And there's a turn.
Yep, Wyatt Kriske thought he was hit. To no avail. Hoppe trying to get down there, but he gives it right back to Pittsburgh. He was trying to get it over the head of Bradley Kinnis and try to find Kinnis toward the end zone, but I don't know that Kinnis thought he was supposed to go that direction. There looked like some miscommunication on that throw. So it's 4-2, Indianapolis with the lead. Turnovers already a factor for both teams. Both teams have turned it over now 5 times in period 1, but it's the AlleyCats leading it 4-2. Diving play by Kriske to go get it, but did he not? No, it hit the ground. It hit the ground, so the Cats get it back. Into the end zone they go, and they score. 5 points in a row now for Indianapolis, and this time it is Robbie Davenport.
Robbie Davenport in the white cleats tonight, not the orange cleats, but he's still got the celebrations. He got the flex there. We were talking about him earlier. He was our post-game interview just a couple games ago, and that was one of, if not the most exciting post-game interview I've ever been part of. He certainly brings the energy to the game, to the field, and the booth.
I heard he also did the Robert De Niro, I'm watching you, fingers to the eyes thing from Meet the Parents, you know?
Oh, he did quite a bit. He recreated one of his celebrations for our cameraman up here in the booth post-game. He said, you can't come to Indy. This is my city. It's my city.
That certainly was his goal. Nicholas Betch with the pull for Indianapolis. Pittsburgh trying to regain that early offensive composure they had, and I think this is a foul on Betch. Yep, Betch got his hand in. That's going to allow Pittsburgh to move the disc up. Coming over to get it is Will Hoffenkamp. Now Lucas Storm. Storm able to find Alex Mullen. A lot of physicality downfield. Also some guys trying to find their footing on this wet field here at Kuntz Stadium.
And both teams expressed to us pre-game that they wanted to set the tone physically. So expect this one to be a pretty physical matchup.
Ingham, I think, got his hand on that disc, but Jonathan Mast was able to come up with it. Will Hoffenkamp looking around. And again, Pittsburgh forced to retreat somewhat. Mast able to get it to McGonigal. Now to Mullen.
Lots of slipping and sliding out there. It was looking a little bit sloppy for a second, but Birds have regained composure.
High throw, and coming down with it, John McGonigal. So McGonigal got the second goal of the game, and he gets the third goal of the game here for Pittsburgh, which they badly needed.
It was good for the Thunderbirds to stop the bleeding there. I mean, after going up 2-0 with 2 breaks to start the game where it felt like all the momentum was in their favor, the AlleyCats have really taken it back. So desperately needed the hold there from the Thunderbirds. And they will try to string some more breaks together.
Some notes about McGonigal. 20 assists on the year, 18 goals, and 6 blocks. So he is really filling up the stat sheet. So 7 turnovers now for Pittsburgh. And 5 for Indianapolis. O-line conversion rate has been hard for both teams. Pittsburgh 1 out of 6, Indy 1 out of 5. How about the AlleyCats, though? 4 of 5 on break chances here early on. So that was, and again, that's after in the first meeting they were 3 of 23.
Certainly a rough start to the season from the AlleyCats when they went to Pittsburgh back in May. Coach Drew Shepard was quoted in an article earlier this week that it's poetic that they got to start and end this season with Pittsburgh. Gives them a barometer to their development this season, and he said it gives the game a bit of meaning.
Reed Duncan not happy there that a foul is called on him, but he did make contact with Seth Goodeman, so Goodeman gets to move the disc up quite a bit. Duncan with the toss to, he tried to deny the toss there to Noah Wall. Goodeman's got it again. Who's going to help him? He finds somebody. So Indianapolis answers the Pittsburgh score with a score of their own, and it's Jack Havey who just got his 11th goal of the year.
Jack Havey has been on our screens quite a bit this season as well. He's one of the fastest AlleyCats, proves really tough to defend downfield, and also in tight goal line situations like that, he's often able to shake free. So AlleyCats punch in another one, get their lead back up to 3.
So Reed Duncan, I don't know if you saw that, Kelsey. Our cameramen did a great job capturing it. But Reed Duncan, after that score was made by Indy, very unhappy, went right over to the referee to yell at him. And he was not a happy camper. So, and he's normally known for getting blocks. Reed has 7 blocks in the 9 games that he has played this year. The poll will be conducted by Drew Hoppy. And I think there might have been some sort of unsportsmanlike conduct things that happened there in the end of that. And I think that's why the AlleyCats are getting to execute the poll much further up the field now.
Yeah, you can make your case to the referee, but, you know, there's a line. You still have to remain professional. And I didn't see or hear the exchange down on the field level, but referee saw something they didn't like. So AlleyCats are going to get to pull from half field instead of their own brick.
The assistant coach, David Berg, was trying to plead his case with the ref, as was the head coach for Pittsburgh, Max Borowski, but to no avail, and the AlleyCats get to throw it over, and Hoppy throws it down. So Pittsburgh has to start even deeper from their own zone than they would have liked. So now they can work their way out of it. Jimmy Tolles got it. Jimmy's one of the longest tenured Pittsburgh Thunderbirds, been with them since 2016. Fight for the disc here, and Sam Ingham wins it, taking it away from the Thunderbirds. What a first quarter Sam Ingham continues to have. He's got 2 goals and now a block. He's been all over the place on both sides of the disc. He's got it again, as he's able to fire it this time to Cole Heiser. Yeah, we haven't talked about Heiser a whole lot yet. Mace Chope is in the game as well. Hoppy's got the disc once more. Takes his time and gives it back to Ingham. Landry to the end zone, has another score. And the AlleyCats are really finding their offensive groove. They get the break opportunity. Robbie Davenport comes down with it once again.
There's another Davenport celebration. We love to see it. The firecracker down there, and the AlleyCats are really rolling right now. That was a smooth offensive possession from the Cats. Ben Landry did a great job commanding the offense there, as well as Sam Ingham.
Also just feels like, too, whenever Landry has gotten the disc near the red zone with an opportunity to score, he usually finds the right man. So a couple of assists for Ben Landry. A very happy Robbie Davenport. Indianapolis is now 5 for 5 on red zone conversion opportunities in this first quarter. Big reason why they lead 7-3. Along with Kelsey Sparks, I'm John Herrick. It is great to be with you for the final Indianapolis AlleyCat broadcast of the season. Seth Goodman looks like he's the one doing the pull here. One of the assistant coaches for the AlleyCats, Charles Allen, was talking to the referee. It's Allen and Nathan Busberg doing the coaching duties tonight for Indy. There's the throw downfield, and it was a beautiful one by Ingham, or by Goodman, I mean. And Pittsburgh's got to hurry to get the disc in. And field position in ultimate, similarly to football, it is important. And when you have to start this deep in your own zone, it can be a problem, as was illustrated right there. Turnover on Pittsburgh. AlleyCats have 6 seconds to work with here. Kemp across the middle to Ingham. Ingham able to find a man right before the horn sounds. And he gets it to Nicholas Betch. And Betch with an animated celebration. What a first quarter these AlleyCats are having.
And yet another magical moment to end a quarter by the AlleyCats. It seems like every single home game this season, something crazy has happened at the end of a quarter, and the AlleyCats get a score where we thought impossible.
There is still 1 second on the clock, so they do have to at least conduct the poll and see how things go for Pittsburgh. But that is, yeah, they only had a few seconds to work with after the turnover. And Pittsburgh just again, whenever they have struggled, it's been because of turning the disc over. That's what their coaching staff was very adamant about when talking to us before tonight's game. They have struggled when they have turned the disc over more than 20 times, and they've already given it away 9 times. Goodman another pull, and that one goes out of play. So this will be good starting field position for Pittsburgh. The one thing you don't want to have happen with 1 second left is for them to heave it toward the end zone and them get a last-second score before the end of the quarter.
Definitely going to be tough to get a throw off, as I'm sure the AlleyCats are going to set a double team. However, the Thunderbirds have the wind behind them. So honestly, if you can just get some kind of high release throw off, then the wind's going to carry it to the end zone and help you out a little bit more than normal.
And there it is, but it doesn't quite get there. Betch takes it away. Quarter 1 is in the books. All Indianapolis AlleyCats. They have scored 8 out of the last 9 points to end the quarter, and they lead at 8-3 going into the second. You are watching WatchUFA.tv.
It's a normal day until the unthinkable.
Oh no!
The water heater has sprung a massive leak. But you're not worried. You have a direct line to Walt Waterman. Step aside, folks. We got this.
Thanks, Walt.
It's what we do. For all levels of residential plumbing repairs and service, call or text Winters Plumbing. We're called Winters Plumbing, but we serve every season.
Throw like a pro with a new Pro Ultimate Frisbee. Created with input from the sport's premier passers, the Pro Frisbee is specially designed to fly through the wind and maintain its edge. Experience the official Frisbee of the UFA and get yours at shopufa.com today.
Well, Indianapolis might be the basketball capital of the world this weekend with the WNBA All-Star game here. I think we're also the mascot capital of the world. We've got Rowdy from the Indianapolis Indians here. Of course, we've got the Alley Cat mascot Frisbee here enjoying himself as the two of them pair up and always do a great job of having an engaging evening with the crowd. They always enjoy their time here with the Alley Cats, Frisbee and Rowdy. Along with them and Kelsey Sparks, my name is John Herrick. Great to have you with us from Coots Stadium in Indianapolis. A look at the first quarter stats. Man, O-line conversion, very tough for Pittsburgh right now. 1 of 9, and they have turned it over 10 times to Indianapolis's 5. And they also mentioned, too, before the game, they didn't want to get into a huck battle. They have not been able to get anything going in the huck category tonight, 0 for 2. And the Alley Cats 2 for 3 in that regard, and probably most importantly, Alley Cats have converted every time they have been in the red zone. So those are just some of the key reasons why the Alley Cats are off to an 8-3 lead. But as Kelsey and I can tell you, ultimate can be a long game. Lots of time for Pittsburgh to get back in this. Indianapolis leads the all-time series against Pittsburgh 13-9, but this has been a rivalry back and forth over the years since 2012 where both teams have really had their moments where they've beaten the other one. Pittsburgh got the better of the Alley Cats early in the season, and the Alley Cats trying to win the rubber match to close the regular season.
Winner of this game will lock up 4th place in the Central Division, just 1 spot away from making the playoffs.
And the Central Division, my gosh, how tough has the Central Division been this year? Yeah,
well, with the Chicago Union playing the way that they have and the defending champions Minnesota Wind Chill in the division as well, the upper half of the division is certainly tough.
Ryan Wartenberg commits the foul there for the Alley Cats, allowing the Pittsburgh Thunderbirds to move the disc up. Alex Mullen initiates the offense. And Ingham almost got his hand on that. Gambled, couldn't quite get it. That leads to an Alex Mullen score. So he is the 3rd different Pittsburgh Thunderbird to score in this one.
And the Thunderbirds needed that quick hold to start the second. They need to start to regain some confidence on their O-line, as we saw that end of quarter stat. They were only 1 of 9 on their offensive conversion rate, so not a good start. They needed a quick hold there to reestablish some confidence. They got it to start the second.
To Kelsey's point about the Central Division, yes, the Chicago Union are dominating the headlines. They're 10-0, of course. They are the #1 ranked team in all of the UFA. But then you've got the Minnesota Wind Chill, who are solid at 8-3. Another, and of course, they're always tough. And then you got the Madison Radicals, another Indianapolis Alley Cat rival. They've had a pretty good year at 7-4 as well.
And we'll be seeing all 3 of those teams in the playoffs.
Yeah, playoff picture really coming together in the UFA. Unfortunately for these two teams, it won't include either one of them. But trying to build upon the end of this year and get something going into next year. Cole Heiser with a nice throw down the field, and Seth Goodman is able to track it down. And for Seth, that is his 2nd goal of the evening.
And Cole Heiser having a heck of a season as well. He was our player to watch last week, but he leads the team in assists. He just locked up his 24th with that throw right there. He also leads the team in total yards. So breakout season for the young Cole Heiser, and he gets it to the veteran Seth Goodman.
And Heiser's one of just 12 players so far this season with at least 30 scores and 10 blocks. So Cole Heiser has been a well-rounded player that's had the eyes of the UFA on him, and so is Seth Goodman for that matter. And you could just tell during warm-ups tonight, Seth Goodman was locked in. Couldn't be here last week against Detroit, but you knew he wanted to finish off the season the right way, and he has been clearly wired in and ready to go. Drew Hoppy with the pull, and once again, Indianapolis with a 5-point lead. Pittsburgh is trying to cut into. High throw. And again, those are the kind of throws that can sail on you if the wind picks up. Jimmy Toll's got it. Right side, it is Lucas Storm coming down with it. Storm tosses and is able to find McMonigal. Mullen threads the needle to McMonigal again. McMonigal found his man for a moment, and Jimmy Toll could not hang on. I think it looked like he was trying to think about turning it upfield before catching it. And that gives the disc back to Indianapolis.
Yeah, just another error where the Thunderbirds give it away themselves rather than making the Cats take it away. So they've got to clean up those unforced errors.
Mace Chope to the outside. Nice throw, and it is caught by Owen Woodward.
I liked the shape on that trust throw there from Mace Chope. Put it up a little bit before Woodward turned. And we've got to figure out what this water pump celebration is all about. We've seen that a few times tonight.
There's a lot of really great young talent. So, of course, for those of you who wonder about how broadcasting works with our rosters, we have it in numerical order, 0 all the way down to the highest number on the board. So, of course, Woodward's down at the bottom with 83, and then you've got Wartenberg at 99 and Davenport at 90. These guys that are in the high number range on the jerseys for the AlleyCats, Kelsey, are some of the really good young talent that this team is having. And they are really poised to develop well, I think, into next season.
I agree with you. And going back to Coach Drew Shepard's quote from earlier, talking about, how poetic it was to start and end the season against Pittsburgh. They had a rough game 1 loss in Pittsburgh. And to come out strong, be up 10-4 early on in this game, that shows you how much growth the Alleycats have had this season.
Yeah, Coach, they lost 25-21. They felt like they didn't even play that well in the game as Goodman knocks that one down. Seth Goodman lays out and makes a heck of a play on the disc.
Goodman came into tonight tied for 4th in the league in blocks, and he adds another one to his total.
That gives him now 18 on the season. That throw a little bit high from Betch. Might have been deflected. Now Pittsburgh with an opportunity. Charlie Vukovic with the huck. And that leads to a Pittsburgh score. So Pittsburgh was thinking, we've had enough of this. Let's just get it down the field and get any point that we can by any means necessary. And they get it from Anson Repperman.
We've had enough of this is right. They made really quick work of that once they got the disc back. Anson Repperman, long time Thunderbird, gets it done.
That was just Charlie Vukovic saying, you know what, I've had enough. Let's pick it up and throw it down there. He's one of the veteran players for Pittsburgh in his 4th year with them. I think that one of the things that's really hurt Pittsburgh this year is without a discernible defensive rotation, they've struggled to manufacture breaks, and they're on pace for their second lowest mark in franchise history, which they could end up with by night's end.
Their team leader in blocks this season, Ryan Kendall, is on the field right now, number 29. So we'll see if he can extend his total.
Both teams do have some players out tonight. Pittsburgh with 8 guys out, one of which is Marcel Oliert, who had 5 goals in the first meeting against Indianapolis.
Oliert's leading the Thunderbirds in goals this season, so his absence is certainly going to be felt.
Foul on the Thunderbirds allows the AlleyCats to move it up. Nearly taken away there, but Heiser comes down with it. But then his throw a little offline there as he tries to get it to Chamberlain.
And that Superman layout D attempt was Ryan Kendall, who we mentioned leads the Thunderbirds in blocks. Almost got the hand there and forced the bad throw.
Reed Duncan able to find Jacob Rollins. Pittsburgh's already used one timeout this half. So they have another one in their back pocket if they want it. Long tuck down the field. Reed Duncan is in. So Pittsburgh is starting to make a move here. They've scored 2 points in a row, and they're back within 4.
And there is Pittsburgh's first break since early in the first quarter. Good to see them establishing more of a defensive presence again after the momentum had shifted early. Thunderbirds trying to string some more breaks together to close the gap.
And the AlleyCats are trying to regroup as well. And they are calling a timeout here. So this, sometimes you see a timeout called in Ultimate, Kelsey, and it's about the line, it's about the rotation, getting the players in that you want. This feels more like a mental one or an emotional one, just trying to get your team refocused and going, hey, let's get it together, because Pittsburgh is not going to just lay down over there.
Yeah, the AlleyCats had the momentum strongly on their side. I mean, since 3 minutes into the game or so, it's been all AlleyCats from a momentum perspective. So I like the timeout call there from Coach Nathan Busberg, just trying to refocus his team. You can see Seth Goodman really laying it on there thick in the huddle. I was teasing Coach Busberg earlier. He's a man of few words when the media comes into question. I asked him what he was going to say to the team right before they took the field to start the game. And he paused for a minute. He said, something that you can repeat on air?
Yeah.
I said, yeah, preferably so.
Or he loves to just say, score more points than the other team. That usually helps. But when you got a veteran like Seth Goodman, it's nice to have Goodman just handle things. And Goodman, of course, the demonstrative leader. And he has proven to be a very good one. And it's weird to say that now. It's weird for me to say that because I remember him coming here his first year and him learning from Travis Carpenter and Cam Brock, Rick Gross, Levi Jacobs, all guys who have had their jerseys retired this year and are still coming to the games a lot as fans. Nick Hutton is also here tonight along with Carpenter. So, yeah, they would not have missed tonight. They want to see this team end the season on a positive note. AlleyCats are about to get the disc back. Pittsburgh on a 2-0 run. And Reprimand does the pull. Jack Havey gets to initiate it. Havey was a guy that Travis Carpenter was very high on last week when speaking to us in the second quarter about all the things that he's been able to do and the way he's grown. Jack Gall's able to toe tap the sideline, stay in bounds. Good to see that sun coming out with how rainy it has been in Indianapolis all day. Carson Chamberlain, the former Detroit Mechanic, with the disc now. Typically after a team struggles and the other team has scored twice on them, you might see them come out of the timeout, be a little more deliberate, take their time unless somebody's open. Seth Goodman might have a man open here, and he overshot him just a tad. Put a little too much on it, out of the reach of Cole Heiser, and that gives Pittsburgh an opportunity to get within 3.
Another break opportunity for the Thunderbirds after the long throw. Win behind Goodman there and just gets out of reach of Cole Heiser, who had a great cut wide open in the end zone. Thunderbirds with a chance to break, and it looks like they're calling a timeout. I like that. Get the O-line back on the field, utilize this opportunity.
So they are using their second timeout of the first half. And if you're Indianapolis, your focus has got to be finding a way to not let them execute it, because you want to make them feel like they wasted the timeout, not benefited from having it.
And if you're the AlleyCats, you desperately need to get that momentum shift back. That turnover there coming off the AlleyCats timeout was not what you needed if you are Indianapolis. So Coach Busberg coaching up his D-line right now.
Another thing we told you about earlier at the start of the game, about how Pittsburgh had far more blocks than Indianapolis in their win against Indy back on May 2nd. But tonight, so far, it's been the AlleyCats who have been the better defensive team in that regard. They have 8 blocks to Pittsburgh's 2. Pittsburgh is holding, though, at just 3 out of 11, 27%. Indianapolis's hold percentage is 3 of 7, so that's 43%. And break percentage still in favor of Indy at 7 of 11 for 64%, but Pittsburgh is starting to regain their groove a little bit as they've converted the last couple of breaks. They try to do that again here out of the timeout. That one nearly taken away, but then held on to by Alex Mullen. He has to backpedal a little bit. Indy AlleyCat crowd trying to get into it with the defensive chant, and they get rewarded. McMonagle looked like he was trying to throw it to the other side. It goes down, and now the AlleyCats have a chance here.
Yeah, McMonagle just throwing it into traffic there right at the front of the stack. Didn't work out for him, but AlleyCats give it right back.
I think the wind, to your point that you made earlier, Kelsey, is playing a little bit of a factor here. With the wind to their back, I think guys are thinking they've got the disc with a little less air underneath it, but there's more, and they're putting too much on it. The wind is carrying it. And that one goes off the hands of Alex Mullen. So Indianapolis gets the disc back once again, an opportunity to extend their lead.
Pretty messy point here thus far, so let's see who can lock it down first. That AlleyCats defensive line offense has been playing pretty well tonight, like we said. 64% break percentage there.
And Ryan Wartenberg was about to throw the disc, and there was a foul committed. So Thunderbirds, somebody from Pittsburgh got a hand on it, but there was also contact. Of course, this is a non-contact sport, so that is not allowed. Nicholas Betch now with the disc. Can Indianapolis take advantage here as we are inside 5 minutes to play in the second quarter? Layout try does not come up with it.
Just out of reach of Jake Wall, and now the Thunderbirds, yet another break chance on this point. Can they get it done this time?
By the way, Jake Wall's had a pretty good third year with Indianapolis. 4 goals, 6 assists, and 4 blocks. Wartenberg has been guarding Will Hoffenkamp a lot. I feel like, I don't know if that's by design, but Wartenberg helped, I think, play a role in that misfire on that throw. AlleyCat sideline certainly loving it. Now the Huck. Can Ingham catch up to it? Yes, he can! And the AlleyCats push their lead back up to 5. What a first half Sam Ingham continues to have.
Fantastic half and season in general from Sam Ingham on a beautiful pass there from Nick Betch. What was a pretty ugly point and a long one with plenty of turnovers on both sides finally gets put away. The AlleyCats get that hold and stop the break train from the Thunderbirds.
Betch with his 16th assist of the season. Ingham with his 3rd score of the night. I knew Ingham was on the track to being special when he made an unreal catch for a score against Chicago earlier this year. Now, of course, we know Chicago would go on to win that game over Indianapolis rather handily. Chicago is the top-ranked team in the UFA for a reason, after all, at 10-0. But Ingham had a play in that game that brought the crowd to its feet here in Indianapolis. And I think that is something that a lot of people will remember as this is the coming of age that we are seeing from Sam as Indianapolis commits a foul here, allowing Pittsburgh to move up the disc.
And what a confidence builder as a rookie, too.
Yeah.
To have that moment with the crowd, with the fans, where everybody's going wild because you just made one of the craziest plays of the season. I mean, we have plenty more highlights to see from Sam Ingham as his career continues.
And there's contact all over the sideline, and there was contact and a foul, which allowed the Pittsburgh Thunderbirds to move the disc up. Then they started to initiate play too soon. The refs made them back it up, and then there was another contact made by Indy, which allowed them to move it up again. But the AlleyCats are really bringing up the defensive pressure, and that was something that their coaching staff told us before the game tonight they were going to do. We were going to up the pressure defensively and try to throw some stuff at Pittsburgh that we didn't do a whole lot of on May 2nd. AlleyCats are trying to do that now. And he falls down, wow. Jake Murray fell down but was able to regain his balance and throw the disc into the end zone, caught by Jacob Rollins, and Rollins with his 5th goal of the year.
Honestly, wild recovery there. I did not think that throw was going to go off, and Robbie Davenport almost got a hand on it. Tight window to find his teammate Jacob Rollins there for the Thunderbirds score.
And it's funny because Rollins is known as a defender, but he can definitely get the disc in the end zone if you need him to. Cats about to get the disc back. 9 blocks now for Indianapolis. And completion percentage is not always big in ultimate, but I think tonight, with how the weather has been and how nasty it looked like, with how rainy it was, Cats are completing 91% of their passes. Pittsburgh at 88%. So that shows you how that's been going. And the Huck advantage heavily in Indianapolis's favor. They are 5 out of 7 for 71%. To just 1 of 3 for Pittsburgh at 33%. And that's after Pittsburgh had 62% Huck conversion rate in the first meeting between these two teams. So a very big role reversal in a lot of areas that we are seeing in the first half of this one. Seth Goodman fakes, looking around, finds Heiser. Heiser with Aiden Landis up on him. Landis tried to get a hand on it, could not. Throw towards the end zone. Jack Gall, what a play as he's able to get the disc away from Jason Wary at the last moment. And the AlleyCats get point number 12.
Perfectly placed throw there from Cole Heiser, too. Just a beautiful play in that corner there. Jack Gall, is one of the fastest guys on the AlleyCats, and he really does a great job streaking down the sideline there.
A lot of different players right now that we could be talking to at the end of tonight, because we always try to interview the player who makes the most contributions on the AlleyCats team, and there's a lot of guys who are making a candidate for it. Certainly Robbie Davenport, Seth Goodman, Sam Ingham, and Jack Gall too. Gall with his first goal of the night, but he always fills up the stat sheet. He had 3 assists, 3 goals, and 1 block against Detroit. And I felt like Gall made several big plays last week when Detroit was trying to get back into it, or they were keeping things close, and Gall made a few big plays there to help extend the AlleyCat lead and not let the Detroit Mechanics back in it.
Coach Drew Shepard talking about last week was saying it was their best offensive performance to date and that it was not a fluke. He really feels like his guys have been putting some things together that are repeatable.
Toss out to Hoffenkamp. Back to the other side. Storm. Storm tries to zip it in and does. Now Hoffenkamp with it again. And that disc gets deflected, and coming down with it, Indianapolis on another Pittsburgh turnover. Ingham trying to chase this one down, and he's able to do that. Kemp was able to help with the deflection. And now it is Pappas. And then the disc is turned over in the end zone. Pappas looked like he had it, and the crowd cannot believe it. I think everybody threw their hands up in disbelief at that one.
That disc just got away from Ingham there, going against the wind. If you release it too high, it's going to pop up. That's what happens. So Thunderbirds with the disc now. See if Kemp can do it again. He does. Second block on 1 point from Jason Kemp.
He has been everywhere. I mean, he's done it around the goal line. He's done it in the middle of the field. And he just finds his way onto the disc every time. He's able to knock it away from Malachi Marshall that time.
And Jason's been having a heck of a season as well. I know we highlighted him just a few weeks ago.
Betts trying to get it to Ingham, and he does. Ingham, did he get across? Yes, he did. What a job by him to spin in the air, turn, and land in the end zone to get the AlleyCat point.
All smiles from Sam Ingham there, and that's got to feel good. Obviously, on that turnover, morale's low there for a second, but Sam gets the job done, redeems himself, gets his 4th goal of the game. And shout out to Jason Kemp there, 2 blocks in that 1 point to get the AlleyCats their break.
What a throw that was, too, by Nicholas Betch. I mean, he has made some outstanding throws in some not so easy parts of the field with defenders in his face. And there's Coach Charles Allen, one of the assistant coaches, having a good moment there with Seth Goodman, who's trying to get his line ready to go as Goodman does the pull. And that landed in a really good spot. I think
it hit the cone, so Pittsburgh's going to have to take it from that corner.
Yeah.
Perfect pull there.
That's basically Ultimate's version of a coffin corner punt. You know, when you're punting the football and, you're able to pin someone near their own goal line, you coffin corner it. That's what the AlleyCats were able to do on the pull there.
Practically could have been submitted for a trick shot video.
So Pittsburgh had cut the deficit at 1 point down to 4 in this quarter, but now it's back up to 6 after they trailed by 5 after 1. Oh, a couple of AlleyCat players ran into each other there. I think Goodman accidentally knocked down Heiser. Throw to the end zone. Chope trying to chase it down. Bobbled and dropped. Unable to be held on to by Jacob Rollins. Looked like he had it for a second.
And it looks like we've got a timeout from the AlleyCats. Putting on the O-line. Saw Coach Nathan Busberg signal the O there. Tough break there if you're the Thunderbirds. Thought that they had that possession all wrapped up. Wide open guy in the end zone, but hey, it is a windy day like we were chatting about earlier, so couldn't quite pull it in.
And great awareness by Chope, too, because Chope was near him, and sometimes you might get a little excited. You want to go after the disc, and you accidentally make contact, which would be a foul. You don't want to do that, and Chope was able to stay away from him enough.
27 seconds left
So 27 seconds left in the quarter. AlleyCats putting a new lineup in. It's Havey, there's Cole Heiser, and they've also got Drew Hoppy out there. Jack Gall is on. There's an Indianapolis AlleyCat player getting worked on by the trainer, so we hope he's okay. And if you're just joining us, Pittsburgh led this one early 2-0, and it looked like they were really on the path to success, but then Indianapolis comes out firing. They would score 5 in a row before Pittsburgh would get another point, and that would make it 5-3, but then the AlleyCats scored the next 3 points to lead 8-3 after 1, and it's been all Cats ever since. That one is deflected, and what do we have?
Hey, that's a great defensive play by the Thunderbirds. I love the double team coming off that timeout, and now they are going to get it on the AlleyCats goal line with 26 seconds. Eternity here. Plenty of time for the Thunderbirds to punch this one in.
Exactly what you don't want to have happen coming off of a timeout. Let's see if Pittsburgh can take advantage. It's John McMonigal with it. Now able to get it to Hoffenkamp. Joel Close was the AlleyCat player getting worked on, by the way. The throw, he faked it. Did Charlie Vukovic trying to get it in. Now he's got a man wide open who just simply waits patiently for it to arrive into his hands. That would be Lucas Storm, who gets his first goal of the evening and his 10th of the season.
I loved the patience there on offense from the Thunderbirds. Like we were saying, 26 seconds, plenty of time. They didn't fall into the temptation to force something, thinking that they were almost running out of time. They really used most of the clock, only 4 seconds left. Solid discipline there from Pittsburgh. And now the Cats are going to have 4 seconds to see if they can do another end-of-quarter magical moment like we've been seeing this season.
You know who I attribute to getting these magical moments at the end of the first quarter? I attribute those to Cam Brock. And Cam, if you're out there watching, you know what I'm talking about. How many times did we see Cam Brock make incredible plays at the end of quarters or halves or even games? But the AlleyCats have to go quickly here. Clock starts. Goodman fires it deep. Ingham trying to get there, but it was out of his reach, and that does it for the end of the first half. But hey, a first half that was pretty doggone solid for the Indianapolis AlleyCats. They led by 5 at the end of the first quarter. They lead by 5 at the end of the second quarter at 13-8 in a battle of two 3-8 teams who are trying to close out the regular season with a victory. Halftime is next. When we come back, Kelsey Sparks and I will have your first half stats and highlights, and then we'll get you ready for the second half here from Coons Stadium. You are watching WatchUFA.tv.
We're Carp Homes. Let us take the pain out of selling your home. We pay cash for your house as is. You don't touch a thing. Leave all repairs and cleanup to us. Homegrown right here in Indy. We're local and reputable, and we care about our city and neighbors. Our team comes to meet with you in person to evaluate your property, resulting in getting you the best possible offer. Call Carp Homes today or visit our website to learn more.
Welcome to Goodman House, a locally owned, award-winning, and family-friendly microbrewery and coffee house located just northwest of downtown Indy. With over 20 delicious beers brewed on site, from hazy IPAs and fruited sours to the best-selling Guggenweizen and Hefeweizen and Riverside Hazy IPA. Pick your own flight of beers, order your grub from the cabin kitchen, and enjoy a day in the beer garden. We invite you to experience Goodman House. Learn more at GoodmanHouseBrewing.com and follow along on Instagram at Goodman House Brewing.
This year, that's shaping probably something new. Like you didn't know what to expect with this chemistry. How are you feeling about that chemistry?
As far as chemistry, when you've got this much of a group that's unfamiliar with one another, you have to lean into what I would coin artificial chemistry. So traditional chemistry is how you and I have known each other and played together for a decade. Artificial chemistry, I believe, can still be valuable, but that looks more like we are going to be fairly rigid at the beginning about our system and where we go and when I can expect you to be there, because that's going to breed confidence. If I know for sure where you're going to be, that breeds confidence in me, and that can generate what we call artificial chemistry. Hopefully what that builds is a natural chemistry, which can evolve from that. But we've got to lean into what we have right now, which is discipline and system, and hope that that kind of takes root and germinates some kind of real chemistry.
Maybe talk about natural grass over turf.
I personally love playing in natural grass over turf. When you lay out on natural grass, a lot of times you stand up feeling just fine. On turf, it feels like anytime I lay out, I'm picking up little nicky-nack injuries, whether it's a turf burn or a sprain or an ache or a bruise or something. So personally, I love natural grass, love the way it feels under the cleats. I think you can expect to see, especially at like a well-maintained field like Koontz, you won't see any difference in performance that sometimes can be brought about by natural grass versus turf. I think that all you're gonna see is players more willing to lay out, players more willing to take chances on discs because they know there's a softer cushion when they land.
Disc in your life, like what was it attracted you to that piece of plastic?
Well, first I learned to throw at camp. I learned to throw at camp of Michigan. And then I started playing my freshman year at College of Charleston, and I think it was the people. My team name, it was the College of Charleston Bums. We're the Charleston Bums, and I just embodied that bum energy, you know? We were just goofy kids. We were just goofy kids having fun, and that really just I came to a school where I didn't know a single person, found these Frisbee guys, and I was like, I think that these are gonna be my best friends. And then moved to Louisville and got involved with a club team, and I knew some of those guys played pro and didn't really know about it, and that's how I ended up meeting the AlleyCats through some Louisville folks that play, and yeah, found the team that way.
Did you know, like, man, I'm really good at this. I think I could go take the next level and pick up this club or against pro or because whatever. You know, when did that happen for you?
Yeah, I was never great at throwing to begin with. It was weird for me. Like I said, I played baseball, so switching the arm movement instead of up high going down to the side was a little weird. But I was a pretty good athlete in high school, and I had this big dude, the Serbian guy in high school, who had played in Serbia before he came to my high school. And he picked me freshman year. He was like, oh, I like this kid because I could catch. And he knew that when it came down to it, he could just send it out there, I'll go get it. And so that's when I was like, all right, pretty good. I became captain. I was like, all right, I want to do this in college. And then in college, I was like, I could maybe play pro here. I want to try to do it. And eventually made it happen. And so here we are, 4 years later now.
What's the difference between playing indoors, outdoors, and how does that affect the team?
Yeah, obviously weather will play a big factor between when it comes to outdoors versus indoors, but I'm excited for that for us, really. I think it gives our defense opportunity, obviously, to let the conditions play and shows the skilled offensive guys to make plays despite the weather. So I'm really excited for Kuntz, really. I've heard from the guys that have played there how exciting that place is, how it's close to a lot of our fans. I'm really hoping to have a packed house and a great energy at our games.
Why did you stay with Ultimate, though? Of all the other sports to play, why Ultimate?
Well, on my freshman year coming in, I knew how to throw. So a lot of the players that were rookies didn't have the forehand throw, and I was kind of good at it. I was kind of like good at Frisbee, and I was like, I've never been good at soccer or basketball, and was okay at lacrosse, and it was the first sport where I really actually enjoyed playing it so much and kind of succeeded at it, kind of played well, actually.
Can you talk about the offensive system a little bit?
Yeah. So, this year we're going to be, I think, much more of an aggressive style offense. We're going to be willing and looking to move the disc vertically downfield more. So you should expect to see some bigger shots and fast pace though. So we're going to be moving quickly. And I think it really plays well into the skill set of the guys that are on the team this year. So it'll highlight what we're good at, and should make it fun for the fans too.
Wildcats. Why do you want to play pro?
Yeah. In the club season, as a member of leadership, a lot of my effort and energy goes into mentoring young guys, developing strategies for the team as a whole. So my time with the AlleyCats, I get to lock in on me a little bit more, focus on my own development as a player, and it's just fun. I mean, like, playing in front of fans is not something that you get to do in club, so getting to do that is a big part of it as well.
What's the best part of your game?
I've always been a defensive player. I think, like I said, my speed, athleticism really helped me out with that stuff, and I'd really like to bring that onto the offensive side. I think that the same reasons I'm good at defense could be helpful on the offensive side, and I'm looking forward to improve my disc skills and really bring it up to the next level because I think I could be pretty deadly on that side too.
We're Carp Homes. Let us take the pain out of selling your home. We pay cash for your house as is. You don't touch a thing. Leave all repairs and cleanup to us. Homegrown right here in Indy, we're local and reputable, and we care about our city and neighbors. Our team comes to meet with you in person to evaluate your property, resulting in getting you the best possible offer. Call Carp Homes today or visit our website to learn more.
Welcome to Goodman House, a locally owned, award-winning, and family-friendly microbrewery and coffee house located just northwest of downtown Indy. With over 20 delicious beers brewed on site, from hazy IPAs and fruited sours to the best-selling Guggenweizen and Hefeweizen and Riverside Hazy IPA. Pick your own flight of beers, order your grub from the cabin kitchen, and enjoy a day in the beer garden. We invite you to experience Goodman House. Learn more at GoodmanHouseBrewing.com and follow along on Instagram at Goodman House Brewing.
Halftime at Kuntz Stadium here between the Pittsburgh Thunderbirds and the Indianapolis AlleyCats. AlleyCats with the lead 13-8. This was a game where the Thunderbirds got off to a quick start, led 2-0, but really since then it's been all Indianapolis. They would score 5 points in a row after that, take the lead by 5 at the end of the first and the second quarter. Along with Kelsey Sparks, I'm John Herrick. A little bit of the first half stats. That was kind of when they got things started with the goal to start things off for Pittsburgh. It was Wyatt Kriske, and things didn't look so great for the AlleyCats to start off, Kelsey, but then Seth Goodman helped change all of that.
Was starting to have some flashbacks to Game 1 in Pittsburgh back in May by the way that the Thunderbirds started off with 2 breaks. But, hey, you're right. The man of the hour, Seth Goodman, he gets that point for the hold right when his team needs it. Hey, that's why he's the veteran captain on the team. And you're right, it's been mostly all AlleyCats ever since. However, that second quarter was 5-5, so Pittsburgh stopped the bleeding despite going down 5 in that first quarter. So starting to establish a little bit more confidence on offense.
Some of the goals there you saw from Pittsburgh: Alex Mullen, Anson Repperman, Reed Duncan, Jacob Rollins, and Lucas Storm. So 5 different players for Pittsburgh scored a goal. Sam Ingham with another terrific play there. That was the final goal of the AlleyCats in the first half, as they are now huddling up and trying to make sure they have the proper focus to come out to start the second half. And in the first half stats, both coaching staffs mentioned this to us before the game, and it was obvious that turnovers would be a factor and a point of emphasis. And of course, Kelsey, turnovers have been a big problem for Pittsburgh. 18. You want to try to have 20 or less for the entire game. Pittsburgh had 18 alone in the first half. And Indianapolis, a team that hasn't been so successful with the Hucks this year, they're 8 of 11 on Huck tries so far in the first half. Just one of the many statistical advantages that the AlleyCats have in this game.
And looking at those completions as well, AlleyCats completing 90% of their passes, Pittsburgh completing 88%. And John, neither of those numbers are good numbers. 13 turnovers, pretty high. 18 turnovers for the first half, very high. Been a bit of a sloppy game thus far, but AlleyCats holding it together a little bit better and taking advantage of their opportunities. Pittsburgh needs to start stringing some breaks together. They came into tonight on pace for their second lowest breaks in franchise history. They're going to need to make some changes, put some more pressure on the AlleyCats offensively for this second half if they want to claw their way back into this one.
So it is Indianapolis leading 13-8 at halftime, but of course it's a very pivotal time across the UFA. We've got all kinds of important games coming up. These are the can't-miss games on the upcoming schedule. Of course, the San Diego Growlers, the Atlanta Hustle on July 26th. The Minnesota Wind Chill and the Madison Radicals, of course, are going to be a factor. And then New York, the New York Empire, Austin Sol's in the first game against the San Diego Growlers. And then the New York Empire against the DC Breeze. So here's the top 4 seeds going into the playoffs. The Chicago Union have the 1 seed in the Central Division. The Salt Lake Shred have the 1 seed in the West. Atlanta and DC both have playoff berths. The Boston Glory, they are the 1 seed in the East. The Wind Chill, of course, have a playoff berth. And other teams with a playoff berth are the Austin Soul, the Oakland Spiders, New York Empire, Colorado Summit, the San Diego Growlers, and of course the Madison Radicals. So that's a little bit about the games we've got coming up on the UFA, and also a little bit about the playoff picture to this point. Unfortunately for these two teams, the Indianapolis AlleyCats and the Pittsburgh Thunderbirds, they are not in the playoff picture this season because of their records. Both teams are 3-8. Indianapolis trying to get their 4th win of the season, and they want to make sure that they can get a win besides somebody other than Detroit. Of course, their 3 wins coming into this game have all been against the Detroit Mechanics. And if you're the Pittsburgh Thunderbirds, one thing that they mentioned was they wanted to find a way to salvage a season where they had higher expectations and just did not meet them, and they just want to close out the season on a high note against a rival like the AlleyCats that they have had more recent success against. I know the AlleyCats have the overall record in their favor against Pittsburgh. But Pittsburgh's had some pretty good recent history against Indianapolis. However, the first half of this game did not go their way.
No, we got to chat with Coach Max Borowski, head coach of the Thunderbirds since 2022. He said that they haven't accomplished what they set out to this season. Obviously didn't make the postseason. He said they haven't been able to string together any complete games, really, and so they really want to build on the strengths that they've established thus far tonight as they head into the future. And of course, we also mentioned earlier that personnel has been a huge issue for the Thunderbirds this season. They have 0 players on the roster that have played in all 12 games this season. So hard to get things moving when you don't have that consistency in personnel.
And the poll did not go the way that the Thunderbirds had hoped. AlleyCats get great field position out of it, but they cannot cash in. Jack Havey tried to get it to Carson Chamberlain, but Chamberlain drops the disc, and that gives Pittsburgh an opportunity to get on the board first here to start the second half. As Kelsey said, even though Pittsburgh trails by 5, they played the AlleyCats even in that second quarter at 5 points apiece. Seth Goodman playing some defense. Did he play too much of it? Yes, he makes contact, so that is a foul on Indianapolis, which allows Pittsburgh to move the disc up as he's guarding Kevin Nickel. So Nickel was questionable, by the way, coming into tonight on the injury report, but head coach Max Borowski in the pregame told us very quickly, no, he is going to play. I liked what I've seen from him this week, and I hope he can contribute. There's a long throw by Jake Murray. A couple of AlleyCats trying to catch up to it, and they do. And almost a deflection opportunity to catch it for Pittsburgh, but they can't get it. Charlie Vukovic had a shot at it, but great defense by Cole Heiser. Boy, if you were a number 13 on either team, you had a chance at that in the end zone, but it didn't work out. That pass is deflected by the Thunderbirds, and they get a chance now outside the red zone, or outside the end zone. In the red zone, they cash in. They get the first points of the third quarter, and there is the slam of the disc by Charlie Vukovic after he scores.
Double spike there from Charlie Vukovic, and I think he was taking out some frustration because he wanted a foul call on his second attempt at that last one. So I'm sure he's over on the sideline saying, discs don't lie after 2 spikes, and the Thunderbirds start off the second half with a break.
All right. About still less than 2 minutes gone by in the third quarter. We've already had a very active quarter at that. Couple of turnovers involved, some blocks. Indianapolis has really dominated the block category tonight. 12 blocks to Pittsburgh's 4. There's a look at one of the assistant coaches for Indianapolis, Charles Allen, trying to get the guys regrouped. Rolling pull. Nathan Busberg with the speech there in the huddle. And there's the rolling pull by Pittsburgh, trying to trap the AlleyCats near the sideline, but the AlleyCats able to get out of it. Still looking for their first points of the second half. Nick Pappas in there, so has been close. Throw, Kemp is able to pull that one away from Reed Duncan, who came flying up to try to get it from him. Goes to the other side. The disc is tracked down well there by Ben Landry. This has kind of been the area of the field where Landry has excelled, finding someone in the end zone, but nobody was open that time.
Ben, one of the most veteran players on the team, has really been a backbone offensively in that handler space for the AlleyCats this season.
Landry to Ben Close. And inside the end zone and coming down with it, and Rowdy approves of it. He sure does. Drew Hoppy with the first second half goal of the AlleyCats. And that pushes the lead back to 5.
Nice clean hold there from the AlleyCats. I really liked the patience, especially in that handler space. There were a couple times on that point where things got a little bit dicey. There wasn't necessarily a reset open, but they didn't try to force anything or just Hail Mary it downfield. Jason Kemp and Ben Landry worked well together on that through the adversity in the handler space, and the AlleyCats punch it in.
Yeah, Ingham is the leading man right now for really everybody with the way he's impacting the game. He has 4 goals, 1 assist, 1 block. Drew Hoppy, though, really starting to come alive. when he was introduced in the starting lineup tonight, you could really tell the crowd was reacting well to him and loved seeing him. Nicholas Betch with the pull here for the Cats. And this is, if you're Pittsburgh, you're in danger territory here. The last thing you want to be doing is trading points with the AlleyCats. Alex Mullen had it, almost got it back. Now it is Will Hoffenkamp. Now coming up to get it, Mullen. Mullen, a hybrid player in his third year with Pittsburgh. Double-digit assists and goals. He's also got 4 blocks. Playing in his 7th game tonight, as Kelsey mentioned, yet another player that has not been able for Pittsburgh to stay healthy for the full season. AlleyCat fans trying to lead them through here with this defense chant. And for the most part, they've played really good defense tonight. Pittsburgh taking their time. Lucas Storm trying to get it to the end zone and does. Coming down with it is Alex Mullen. So Alex Mullen with his first second half grab. And this is as close as the Thunderbirds have been since the first half. They have not been able to get it closer than 4. They have an opportunity now. Nice grab by Mullen.
And the patience pays off there on that offensive possession for the Thunderbirds. They've really been a different team coming out of halftime, so I would have loved to have been a fly on the wall and heard what head coach Max Borowski said to them in the locker room, but they have showed a lot more discipline in this second half thus far, and already up a break on the AlleyCats. Let's see if they can extend that to 2 here.
Yeah, so far in the third quarter, they've outscored Indianapolis 2-1. AlleyCats trying to regain their footing. Temperatures have cleared up a little bit, so has the sky. We had a very wet and humid day across Indiana. The rain definitely made that field on Couth Stadium very wet earlier. The rain made some issues there. It's supposed to rain again tomorrow in Indianapolis. It's 80 degrees, but the wind gusts are up to 24 miles an hour at times, and we have seen the wind play a factor with the disc. Might have played a factor right there.
Speaking of, yeah, those toppers, those upside down throws are really going to be affected by the wind tonight, just like that one.
And even though that was caught by Vukovic, he has to go back out. He didn't. Was he able to get it across? Pittsburgh thinks he did. It looks like we have a call on the other side of the field.
I think there was a call off the play, and the whistle blew before the score happened. So it was against Indianapolis, so Pittsburgh's going to get to center the disc. Obviously, they would have rather had that score.
Right. Charlie Vukovic, double team, but that leaves a man wide open for Pittsburgh to get within 3 now.
And that's another break for the Thunderbirds, starting out really hot in this third quarter. It was a quick one as well. Anson Repperman, long time Thunderbird, bringing that one in, and there's nobody even around it.
And that's the advantage of having a hybrid player, as he is known. We've seen him play solid on the defensive end and also contribute with the disc passing and scoring. Repperman's been a problem all night. In fact, he is the second highest player statistically this evening compared to Ingham. Repperman's now, let's see, he's got 2 goals, 1 block, and he's completed all of his passes. He does have 69 receiving yards. And now the AlleyCats have got to figure things out here. They have been outscored in this third quarter so far by a count of 3-1. So they haven't won a quarter since the first one. AlleyCats trying to change recent fortune. Drew Hoppy's got it. Comes back to get it once again. He is shadowed by Ryan Kendall. And we got contact and a foul against Pittsburgh, and that's on Reed Duncan. Now remember, Duncan was called for an unsportsmanlike call in the first half, which led to the AlleyCats having a pull near midfield. So Duncan's got to be careful what he says here, and I think we might have another foul against Pittsburgh. Yes, that's on Ryan Kendall. This is kind of fitting of an Indianapolis-Pittsburgh type of game. This is a rivalry game. These two teams are in the same division, of course. I don't think they like each other a ton. I know there's mutual respect there, but, you know, you're always playing in close games. There's always positioning or something on the line, and that one is taken away. Yeah, that disc floated up in the air, and you can just see a couple of Pittsburgh Thunderbirds circling it, and they get the steal. And coming up with it that time was Henry Everett, who just got his third block of the season.
And as this game gets closer again, I think we're certainly going to see more physicality. Both teams mentioned pregame that they wanted to be the ones to set the tone physically. Now with the game on the line, I'm sure we'll see a lot.
Duncan lays out, and what a play by Reed Duncan. How in the world did he catch that disc? And Pittsburgh is back within 2 now.
I am excited to see that replay because I didn't think there was any way he was going to come away with it. There we see the defensive play that set everything up. Fantastic play here, though. We're about to see the score from Duncan on his trailing shoulder, too. Left-handed grab, Drew Hoppe all over him. Fantastic play. And now the Thunderbirds are within 2.
Yeah, this has been a much different Pittsburgh Thunderbird team that we have seen to start the third quarter. 4 different guys have gotten in for scores for Pittsburgh. Charlie Vukovic, Alex Mullen, Anson Repperman, and now Reed Duncan. And play again. Yeah, Hoppe with an excellent try. You thought almost for a second it might be a tie. Maybe he would get it, but Duncan just pulls it away. And this is the closest that Pittsburgh has been since the first quarter. They trailed by 5 at the end of 1 and at halftime, but they have outscored Indianapolis in this quarter by a count of 4-1. And they've just, aside from the stats, they've just controlled positioning on the field, and they just have a little more energy right now.
AlleyCats need to reestablish that offensive confidence.
Chamberlain to Gall. Back to Chamberlain. Able to find Goodman. Usually when he's got it, good things happen for Indianapolis. Can that happen again? He decides to get it to one of his other teammates, Noah Wall, and Noah Wall goes up the side and is able to find Carson Chamberlain. So Chamberlain able to sneak free and give the AlleyCats a much-needed spark.
And Chamberlain subbing onto that O-line. Haven't really seen much of him on the offensive line tonight, and he provides exactly the spark that Indianapolis needed. And Indy really needed that hold there, reestablish some confidence, reestablish some identity offensively, because they were really starting to bleed a little bit with the Pittsburgh Thunderbirds starting out so hot this half.
Yeah, Chamberlain and Heiser were 2 guys that really led Indianapolis to that win over Detroit last week. Chamberlain was our post-game interview. Emotional win for him. 2 assists, 4 goals against Detroit. And Drew Hoppe will be conducting the pull here for Indianapolis. As we come up on 5 minutes left in this third quarter, again, you know both these teams want to do everything they can to leave it all out there, with this being the final game of the season before we give way to the UFA playoffs. Did that hit the ground? It looked like it did. Yes, I think it did.
Refs calling it up. I thought it was down as well, but referees say it's up and play continues.
Wow.
I do think that disc hit the ground. AlleyCats need to play with a little bit of ferocity to get it back.
That was Jimmy Toll who came down with that unreal play after the deflection. Pittsburgh feeling like they just got a new lease on life after that. Hoffenkamp's got it. Will Hoffenkamp looking for somebody to get open. And that's dropped. Dropped by John McMonagle, but he thought he got fouled. The Pittsburgh coaching staff on the sideline, they're going berserk wanting a foul call. They don't get it.
I do think that Woodward made contact with that disc before it ever touched the hand of McMonagle. So I don't think that was a strip call there. I think that was a good non-call by the referees.
Landry on the deflection. McMonigal got a piece of it, but Woodward ends up with it. And Woodward is the beneficiary of a foul call here. So they call this foul on Jimmy Toll. And that allows Indianapolis to move the disc up. And a whistle again. I think they want to get a new line out there. So the AlleyCats call timeout to get a different line of players in there with 3:40 to go and tensions mounting at Kuntz Stadium here in Indianapolis.
Hey, big break a chance for the AlleyCats. I'm not mad at that timeout call. There's Coach Nathan Busberg bringing the guys together in the huddle. So the AlleyCats getting outscored this quarter 4-2. Pittsburgh up with 4, AlleyCats with 2 in this third quarter. This break opportunity is big for the AlleyCats to reestablish some momentum.
So 4-2 on the scoreboard in the third quarter, and also for Indianapolis, they have 4 turnovers in this period. Pittsburgh has just 2. So Pittsburgh had 18 turnovers in the first half. They're at 20, so they've only had 2 here in the third quarter. There's Drew Hoppe trying to shake things off a little bit. We'll see who the AlleyCats decide to send out on this line. It looks like Noah Wall is in there. So is Seth Goodeman, Jack Havey, Carson Chamberlain, Cole Heiser, Joel Close, Jack Gall, and the man who's going to be initiating everything is Noah Wall. Wall had 2 assists in last week's win over Detroit. Love to add more to his stats in this one. Has to go to Havey. Joel Close. They're blanketing Goodeman in the end zone, doing everything they can to make sure he doesn't get it. Gall near the end zone, able to come down with it, but getting it across won't be the easiest thing in the world. Pittsburgh certainly trying to make it tough. He lobs it in, and leaping up to get it is Seth Goodeman. Like I said, Pittsburgh was all over him in the end zone, wouldn't let him get open, but then he was able to shake free at the last moment and give the AlleyCats a big score.
Great discipline there, too, from Jack Gall. Stall count was getting high. He was running out of options, and he was able to put it to Seth Goodeman where only Goodeman could reach it. AlleyCats follow through on that break opportunity, bring their lead back up to 4.
So 2 big points there for Indianapolis after Pittsburgh had cut it to 14-12. And with just over 3 minutes to go in this period 3, Indianapolis has started to reassert themselves. Nicholas Betch with the disc here as he's getting ready to conduct the poll for Indianapolis. And Betch has had a solid game as well so far in this one. I want to see the numbers on Betch. Yeah, he's got a couple of assists, 1 goal, 1 block, with 32 receiving yards and 166 throwing yards. So that's kind of a classic Nick Betch type of game. He's always managing to set up other guys well, but also you can't rule out that he can sneak by you and get a goal when you least expect it. So now Pittsburgh's trying to get back that mojo that they had to start off the third quarter. Jonathan Mast has it, and Mast's throw is knocked away. What a play defensively by Jake Wall. And Kemp to the end zone. Knocked back away. Ryan Wartenberg almost had a deflection try at it, but Alex Mullen comes down.
I thought that throw was going to be perfect when it went off, but the wind is gusting so strongly right now, it caught that one up.
And it's gusting in an uncontrollable way, and it does there. On that particular instance, it gives Kemp an opportunity to come down and take the disc away from Jimmy Toll. But then the Cats give it right back.
That was Kemp's 5th block of the game. He's leading the game, playing incredible defensively. Unfortunately, his teammates lost that one, so Pittsburgh has it again.
Malachi Marshall doesn't
6
get
blocks.
6 plays for Kemp. He's all over the place. The crowd loves it. His teammates love it. He's doing everything.
We even saw some pretty crazy Jason Kemp t-shirts at halftime.
Yes. Yep. His girlfriend has a shirt made solely of him in his jersey and the Indianapolis logo and all that. Ingham trying to come down with it, and he does. Sam Ingham has made himself available in the end zone several times tonight, and he does again here.
5th goal tonight for Sam Ingham. I mean, he's the breakout player for the Cats offensively tonight. Jason Kemp having a crazy defensive game. Between the two of these guys, it's tough to decide who's going to be player of the game in this one.
That's a good problem to have. That means that you're getting contributions from a lot of different guys, and it's not just those two. Goodman's having a night. Betch is throwing it well. Drew Hoppy's making some plays.
AlleyCats get to re-extend that lead. Going back to the shirt, though, we got interrupted by a goal.
Right.
But, yes, Jason's girlfriend, Abby Swinson, is actually a professional Ultimate player as well. She plays for Indy Red, the women's team here. So I guess you could call them a power couple, and she's representing with a pretty cool shirt tonight.
So Goodman with the pull. It bounces to Kevin Nickel. Nickel looks to still be bothered by something. Even when he's been out there, he's questionable on the injury report. He just doesn't look 100%, but it's the last game of the season. So you know he's going to try to do whatever he can. And right as I say that, whistle blows, and Nickel looks like he's hobbling off the field here. Yeah, so one of his teammates is going to come on for him. You got to admire the courage to try to gut it out in the last game of the season. So Will Hoffenkamp taking Nickel's spot on the field. Contact, what do we have? Looks like they call a foul on Robbie Davenport. And I don't see, Kelsey, is it common when you're being double teamed and you have the disc, do you try to just initiate contact, like maybe move into someone? Because I feel like Pittsburgh is trying that, or they've done it at least. I don't know if it's been intentional or not, but it's felt that way.
It likely is intentional. I mean, stepping into the defender is a foul offensively, but we'll talk about this first.
Yep, Anson Repperman just got another goal, and he's right when, they needed to get a score, they get it from Anson. But, yep, to your point, go ahead.
So if you have the disc, you're on offense, you can't initiate the contact and step into the defender either. That's an offensive foul. But if you can position yourself where contact's likely going to happen and then you throw up your hands and, you're probably going to get the foul call. Sometimes it's easy to get the defender to contact you, but you can't initiate the contact either.
It just feels like that's been happening. And again, understandably so. You're Pittsburgh, you're down 8 players in this game. You had another guy, like I said, who was questionable, who was trying to gut it out and play. You're trying to find any advantage you can get. And we've seen, honestly, we've had some games, you and I, Kelsey, this year where there hasn't been only but maybe 2 or 3 foul calls for an entire game, but that's not been the case this time. And it usually isn't whenever the Cats play the Thunderbirds. It is a pretty physical type of game.
Especially Cats wanting revenge from that earlier season loss. Thunderbirds wanting revenge from just being down in the series overall. The AlleyCats have won 13 games against Pittsburgh all time to Pittsburgh's 9.
What a snag out of the air by Heiser to keep it alive, and then he's able to find a flying Jack Gall in the end zone for an impressive AlleyCat point.
And just like that, AlleyCats back on top by 5. That is what the difference was as we entered the second half. So 5-5 thus far in the third quarter.
And it didn't look that way early on. So it was 4-1 advantage Pittsburgh at one point. But ever since then, the AlleyCats have started to reassert themselves. They're the 2 assistant coaches, Nathan Busberg and Charles Allen, leading the team with Drew Shepard being absent tonight. But also, too, what a job these guys have done with such a young team and guys that are trying to get things going, learn a new offense. You're playing in a new venue, too. I mean, some of these guys are playing at Grand Park in Westfield, which was indoors. The difference between playing indoors and ultimate to outdoors, that's like comparing night and day. They are not the same thing at all.
Yeah, a lot of the AlleyCats aren't used to playing home games with the wind and sometimes rain like last week. So weather hasn't been an issue in Indianapolis for quite some time.
Kemp almost had another block there, but Jonathan Mast able to take it away. Mast has not been a huge factor tonight. Indianapolis has bottled him up pretty well. Disc throw low. It lands in front of Malachi Marshall right before the horn sounds. That does it for period 3. And just like in the first and the second quarter, the Indianapolis AlleyCats lead a quarter by 5. This time they do it at the end of 3, 18-13. Back with the fourth quarter in a moment on WatchUFA.tv.
We're Carp Homes. Let us take the pain out of selling your home. We pay cash for your house as is. You don't touch a thing. Leave all repairs and cleanup to us. Homegrown right here in Indy. We're local and reputable, and we care about our city and neighbors. Our team comes to meet with you in person to evaluate your property, resulting in getting you the best possible offer. Call Carp Homes today or visit our website to learn more.
Welcome to Goodman House, a locally owned, award-winning, and family-friendly microbrewery and coffee house located just northwest of downtown Indy. With over 20 delicious beers brewed on site, from hazy IPAs and fruited sours to the best-selling Guggenweizen and Hefeweizen and Riverside Hazy IPA. Pick your own flight of beers, order your grub from the cabin kitchen, and enjoy a day in the beer garden. We invite you to experience Goodman House. Learn more at GoodmanHouseBrewing.com and follow along on Instagram at Goodman House Brewing.
18-13 is the score for the Indianapolis AlleyCats. They've got a 5-point lead along with Kelsey Sparks. I'm John Herrick looking at the third quarter stats, which started to look a little more favorable towards Pittsburgh, but they led at one point in that quarter 4-1 in terms of quarter scoring. But then the AlleyCats came back and had a big surge to get that lead back to 5. Pittsburgh better at taking care of the disc. Only 6 turnovers in that third quarter after having 18 in the first 2.
They came out with a vengeance to start the second half, and I was thinking that they were going to keep rolling for a while, but the AlleyCats put that to bed and got their lead back where it's been for most of the game, 5 goals. So let's see if the Thunderbirds can really make some moves happen in the fourth.
Yeah, Thunderbirds have had talent. They've had guys that have made some big plays this year, but the problem is they've only had a handful of O-line players that have been impactful this season, but also, too, they have not had a single player play in all 12 games. They've had a lot of issues with continuity and injuries and things like that. John McMonigal going to the other side. Lucas Storm. McMonigal had a big start to the game. A couple of goals in the first quarter, but since then he's been held in check. Tries to get free here, and that throw didn't quite help things. It was an admirable effort by Connor Newell, and it looked like he was trying to get it around Ben Close. What do they say? Oh, okay, Close is trying to say I need to come off the field here. Yep, so they make a sub. So Close comes out. Cole Heiser takes his spot.
Yeah, Close hit the ground there on the defensive effort. Honestly, he forced that low throw. Great mark there from Ben Close, but took one for the team, so he's going to get checked out on the sideline.
And we are trying to have Jason Kemp up in the booth at the end of this game as our player of the game, most likely at this point, because he has had 5 blocks tonight. And
Six
blocks
now.
6, yeah. So
we're losing count. He's got so many.
Right, yeah, he might have more by the time the night is over. Of course, a play like that in the end zone you just saw, that could nearly result in a Callahan, but didn't happen that way. Pittsburgh with the disc, in bad need of a score, time running out. Connor Newell looking for help. He's got Wall right up on him. Wall tries to deflect it, caught by Storm. Storm needs help and has to backpedal. Red zone offense has been a struggle at times for Pittsburgh. Hoffenkamp doesn't like what he sees, so he has to go to the other side. All just valuable time ticking off the clock, which you don't mind at all if you're Indianapolis. McMonigal trying to shake free. He does. He comes back to get it, nearly has it taken away. Now he goes to the end zone, is able to find a man, and that is Storm. So Lucas Storm in for the first score of the fourth quarter.
Good patience there by the Thunderbirds. I liked the defensive pressure I was seeing from the AlleyCats. Jason Kemp and Nick Betch had a couple moments where they rolled off each other and switched matchups, but Thunderbirds were very patient, got in that hold to start the fourth, and now Kendall set to pull.
This is kind of the way the third quarter started. Pittsburgh went on a big run. They got it to within 2 at 14-12, but then the AlleyCats would score 4 of the next 5 points to push the lead back up to 5. So Pittsburgh has not gone away. They've made things difficult. Of course, the weather was tough to start off the game. We had rainy and cloudy conditions, a wet field. The sun came out around late in the second quarter, so that helped. But there was a lot of slipping and sliding and drop discs, especially in that first half. Havey looking for help from Chamberlain. He finds him, but Chamberlain is shadowed well by Kendall. Cats taking their time. It was Noah Wall who had it. Now he goes up the field. Long huck try. Cannot get it to Joel Close. And a good act of sportsmanship by those two guys as Close and Reed Duncan were duking it out there.
I think he heard some footsteps. Duncan was hot on his tail. Great defensive pressure there from all the Thunderbirds on that possession. So break chance for the Birds. Let's see if they can capitalize on it.
These double teams that the Cats have brought have been good. That one was nearly taken away. I think Heiser might have gotten a hand on it. Landis finds Duncan. Duncan tries to zip it back to Landis and does. Landis fakes the huck and decides to go back on the short throw to Duncan.
And there was some help defense there from the AlleyCats because Kendall was streaking deep, but the other players in the stack didn't recognize it and take advantage of it on the Pittsburgh side. So we're still working just behind half field.
Jason Wary faking, holding, looking for help, and decides to just drop it back to Landis. Duncan. Low throw, but miscommunicated, and it's stolen away. I think he thought somebody was going to come up and be there, and they were not. And Joe Close is the one who ends up with it. Huck try. Goodman trying to get down there, and he runs out of room, and that throw was a little bit offline as he had Aiden Landis on him, and Landis had the position. Break chance again here for Pittsburgh.
Yeah, no need to force that huck if you're Indianapolis, especially being up 4 with such a gusty, windy day. Now the Thunderbirds have a break chance.
Duncan. He's not happy about that. You can tell. Noah Wall and him got tangled up, but I think it was in pursuit of the disc. The refs let him play on, and that's been the trouble for Pittsburgh. They have just not been able to settle their offensive groove down.
Yeah, Pittsburgh has had a fair amount of drops tonight that are really unforced errors. If they clean those up, we're in a different ballgame right now.
Something that both coaches emphasized, needed to have few unforced errors, and you needed to make the plays with physicality, and Indianapolis has done a slightly better job of that. Joel Close has it. Stall count's getting high. Get rid of it to Havey. I think the AlleyCats learned from that huck try earlier. They don't want to take any unnecessary chances. Throw there, and it's caught. Did he stay in bounds? Yes, the referee says he did. Jack Gall with an unreal job to come over and grab it for the AlleyCat point.
There's Jack Gall's speed coming into play again. I know we talk about it a lot. Honestly, when that throw went up, I didn't think Gall was going to be able to get there. Wind behind Noah Wall, the thrower. right on the line. Almost hit our cameraman, too. Great play from Jack Gall to bring that one down and extend the AlleyCats lead back to 5.
Want to thank our entire crew for all the work that they have done tonight. Many of these folks have been with us throughout the season. Jordan Shue, of course, Caleb Gross, David Kahn, J.C. Swartling, Anastasia Sorrell, Richard Feely, and Jacob Kripe are all of our camera crew, and led by our technical director, Jordan Shue. Big thanks to them. AlleyCats with the pull. Drew Hoppy puts a lot into that one, and the lead is back to 5. By the way, Gall scored the last AlleyCat goal to end the third quarter, and he gets the first AlleyCat goal to begin the fourth quarter. Both teams in this one not eligible for the playoffs, trying to finish the season on a high note to rivals. Indianapolis, I think this would be a huge boost for them with all of the youth they've had, a new offense. To get a 4th win and to get your first win of the season against somebody other than Detroit, you really want to feel, that would make you feel great going into next season. And for Pittsburgh, I think it's just about getting healthier and finding a way to find some continuity going into next year. You know McMonigle provides a lot. You know Jonathan Mass certainly does. Throw up the field, and that is caught by Mullen. He got his feet down and made a nice play. Pittsburgh, of course, as the president would say in the movie Independence Day, not going quietly into the night. They are gonna have a say about this until the very end.
Almost 6 minutes to play. I mean, plenty of time for a comeback, 4-score game, so they're going to have to act pretty quickly, but we've seen crazier things out here for sure. Winner of this game is going to finish 4th in the Central Division, just one position outside of the playoffs. So would be a huge morale boost to either team as we both young squads here looking to build for 2026.
Less than 6 minutes left in the season for both of these teams, in regulation, that is. AlleyCats able to do a good job knowing that rolling pull was coming, able to get the disc up and get it out of there quickly before Pittsburgh can get in their shape there. And Havey makes contact with Kevin Nichols. So Nichols back out there. He was hobbled. He came off the field. Now he's back on the field, and he accidentally runs into Jack Havey here. And now Havey might need to get looked at. And the coaching staff for the AlleyCats tonight with Nathan Busberg and Charles Allen, let's just bring out Havey and let's get a sub in for him. So Ben Landry immediately takes Jack Havey's spot.
I think Havey's going to be okay. Good to see him walking off on his own.
Yeah, Travis Carpenter, one of the co-owners of the AlleyCats, told Havey, he's like, man, there isn't anything you can't do on the field. You can do so much. He's like, just keep working and apply yourself. That's why it's so good to have a guy like Carpenter be a part of the AlleyCat ownership group. Former player, so well known, well respected in the community. That doesn't hurt at all. Cole Heiser has it. Nickel is breathing down his neck. It's funny too, when you're looking at the Cats getting the disc now, it's almost like every time they have it, they are looking up at the clock, knowing, hey, we got time. On our side, we don't need to force anything.
Yeah, wasted almost a minute on this point, so that certainly votes in their favor.
Goodman shakes free, comes down with it. Throw to the end zone. Man there, this time Ben Landry.
And it was Ben Landry who came in for Jack Havey on that injury. He's the one that picked up the disc, started the position, and finishes it out. Oh, no, we've got a call.
Yeah, unless that is a very late whistle. So apparently they're backing it off, saying no goal.
Offensive foul from the AlleyCats, so they back it up. Honestly, not terrible, though, because of the clock situation.
Gives them more space to work with, and they use it well. Jack Gall coming down with it once again. So Gall with both goals for the AlleyCats here in the fourth quarter, and he has scored the last 3 points for them. And the anger from Charlie Vukovic, the cutter for the Pittsburgh Thunderbirds, not happy about that. He throws his hat down in anger after Gall slips behind him for the point.
And this fourth quarter's tied up 2-2, thanks to that man right there, Jack Gall, with both of the Cats scores, as you mentioned, John. AlleyCats managed to spend over a minute off the clock on that last point. Pittsburgh Thunderbirds running out of time.
And even this, I think one thing they said to us on the sideline, the head coach for Pittsburgh, Max Borowski, said, we got to be playing in the moment. We got to stay in the moment. I think sometimes they've let the moment get the better of them, and they've been upset at the referees. They get too caught up in what's going on necessarily, but that part has been a little tough. And then plays like that didn't quite let the moment come to them, and they tried to force something that wasn't there.
And you could see every single head go down on the Thunderbirds on the field there, as they know what that turnover likely means with only 4 minutes left and a 5-point deficit in this season finale.
Wartenberg comes up to get the disc there. AlleyCats trying to get down the field with these. Kemp has got it. And Kemp's disc gets deflected, but no matter. It looks like they came down with it. Yes! They say Ingham did come down with it. Another amazing play by Sam Ingham. He's made a lot of them off of deflections this season, and he makes another one here.
We were just talking about his crazy play against the Chicago Union just a few weeks ago, and that's a crazy heads-up play for his 6th goal tonight.
And as you see on the Pittsburgh sideline, they are trying to plead their case and say, hey, that disc hit the grass, but that is not how the referees saw it. It is a point for Ingham, and Ingham is, wow. I am looking at the AlleyCats' future here, Kelsey. Sam Ingham is a guy that you're looking at going, building around him for next year and beyond looks pretty awesome.
Absolutely. He's had an incredible season, and I don't think that any other game even compares to tonight with 6 goals. That's crazy. He's really been everywhere, all over the field, and he has done so many different things that the Cats have asked him to do. He's played offense, he's played defense, he's been in the handler space, he's been in the cutting space. He really has just stepped up to the plate no matter what Coach Drew Shepard has asked him to do. He is so athletic as well as smart with the disc. And
to your point, not only has he scored 6 goals, he has an assist and a block, and he has over 300 receiving yards. And the alley.
Great heads-up play there from Seth Gudeman to grab that one and dish it off quickly to Ben Landry for the score. AlleyCats with yet another break, and they are rolling. I think we know how this one's going to finish now.
Right. Yeah, it's a 7-point lead with just over 3 minutes to go. Very difficult to get from there, but yeah, what a heck of a play. Landry, good to see Landry back. And Ben Landry's kind of come on late in the year.
He missed 3 or 4 games with a hamstring injury in the middle of this season, and his absence was definitely felt. As we've shared, he brings so much stability, especially in that handler space, because with so many young guys, typically what a young team lacks is handlers. So having Landry in is a huge asset to the AlleyCats, and obviously great to see him healthy.
18 blocks tonight for Indy to 8 for Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh just 1 out of 5 on Hucks, and Indianapolis 8 of 14, 57% on Hucks, when Indianapolis has struggled with Hucks this year.
And 18 blocks in a game is a crazy number.
Pittsburgh had 13 in the first meeting against Indy, but for the Cats to turn that around and get 5 more in this one. This time, though, Wyatt Kriske able to shake free for the goal. It's funny because Kriske got the very first point of the night for Pittsburgh when they took a 1-0 lead. They would go up 2-0, and then what happened after that, Indianapolis goes on a 5-0 run to get up by 3. They push the lead to 5 at the end of the first and second quarter, And then here in the fourth, they have just pulled away.
And we've talked about Kriske earlier. You said he got the first point, and he is a young rookie that the Thunderbirds are really excited about. I mean, breakout start for him in his UFA career. Like I mentioned, he had a goal, a block, and an assist in his debut against Toronto. So Pittsburgh Thunderbirds super excited about him and his future. Going back to the number of blocks, though, 18, huge amount in a UFA game. When we used to play at Grand Park, the AlleyCats used to have Ds to, like, flip over the side of the stands, like strikeout counters in baseball, and I think they might have run out at 18.
And you're going to have a chance with more blocks because the wind and the rain can play a factor. Nick Hutton, one of the former AlleyCat players, is here talking with some of his teammates on the sideline, or former teammates. Sliding grab made by Heiser. What a season Heiser has had, one of just 12 players with at least 30 scores and 10 blocks. Throw, did he get it in? Yes, he did. Joel Close coming down with it in the end zone.
Absolutely crazy read from Joel Close. The wind here really took that hammer from Heiser, and it changed direction in the air, I swear, at least twice. Joel Close with an awesome read and athletic play to land his elbows first in the end zone for the score.
Now the lead is 7. Yeah, they do have, okay, they still
we still do it.
They still do it, okay. Wow. You thought they would have run out by now. They do not. So
let's get loud. Let's support our cats. Let's make some noise.
Great job by the AlleyCat faithful. Showed up well tonight. Some bad weather before the game. You wondered what kind of crowd you'd get. You got a great crowd here, and going to end the season with a win over a rival that is usually a problem. They can cause issues for the AlleyCats in the Central Division. Obviously, they won the first game of the year, but that is not the case this time. So the AlleyCats, I think, not that you circle games on your calendar, but sometimes after you play a team once, you might want to circle it on the calendar before you get ready to play them again, because you feel like some unfinished business, especially if you lose. And the AlleyCats definitely came out, you could tell tonight, with that unfinished business mentality as Pittsburgh gets another score here. This one coming from Malachi Marshall. Marshall in his second year with the Pittsburgh Thunderbirds. He plays with a lot of physicality and tenacity. And Marshall also just got his first goal of the night, so congratulations to him. But, Pittsburgh, I think the biggest thing is they've got a lot of things to build upon. But also, Kelsey, you got to like the way Indianapolis came out and defended Jonathan Mast. He was our player to watch, and I don't really feel like he's had the opportunity to do much because Indianapolis they've double-teamed him a few times. They've been right up on him. That physicality from the defensive standpoint has really been a big reason why they've been able to win this game.
Well, they knew who the all-time leader for the Thunderbirds in completions was, and they've done a great job pressuring him tonight, like you were saying.
Heiser up the field. Jack Gall again, because why not? Jack Gall.
And that's his 5th standout performance from Jack Gall as well. Most of it coming in the second half. He's been on fire.
And he had a play earlier in the season that was really impressive. When the stall count was getting high, he was able to shake free and make a great play. So, again, Gall, another one of the talented AlleyCat players that be interesting to see what they build around with him. I think also, too, you got to like Jack Havey, Carson Chamberlain coming over from Detroit. Jason Kemp has clearly made his presence known as a defensive stalwart. There's Seth Goodman rallying the troops once again. Frisbee, the AlleyCat mascot.
And Frisbee's been hyping up the crowd quite a bit on Fan Appreciation Night here. The AlleyCats have done a great job creating such a fun fan environment here at Coons Stadium.
And we have it confirmed that Jason Kemp is going to be joining us in the post game. Yeah, Kemp with 6 blocks tonight, along with 3 assists, 125 throwing yards, 40 receiving yards. I mean, that's just so. And also, too, I felt like when we played these games at home indoors at Grand Park, Kelsey, it was hard to get blocks because you didn't have wind or rain or things like that to worry about the elements necessarily. And guys would make pretty doggone good throws indoors without it being disrupted.
Yeah, a windy night like tonight certainly lends itself a little higher to block opportunities, and the Cats have certainly taken advantage with 18.
McMonigal able to shake free and get the score here.
Pittsburgh.
So John McMonigal, another guy who's been held relatively in check. And I think, too, Kelsey, I think the big part of coming into tonight's game was about defense for Indianapolis. They wanted to get back to playing the type of defense that they knew that they were capable of playing. Especially they did that in the second half against Detroit. Detroit kept the first half of that game interesting, but Indy with great defense, forcing more turnovers, getting break chances to go their way, and then they really helped shape that tonight, too. After they got behind 2-0, they really turned the corner.
The defensive line offense from the AlleyCats has been really good tonight. I mean, they've really taken advantage of their break opportunities, especially in that first quarter. I mean, going up 5 after being down 2, fantastic way to answer. And there are 42 seconds left in this season.
So all the AlleyCats have to do just throw the disc around, prevent the stall count from getting high, run out the clock. Cole Heiser out there, so is Jake Wall. Jack Gall, of course, because why not? He's been terrific. Seth Goodman also showing that veteran presence with him back. He draws the defense in and then gets rid of it. Boy, having Goodman also to draw double teams and attention on him is going to free a lot of guys up. He's right down there open. And he floats it just easily into the hands of Chamberlain. And it's 25-18, and that will likely be the final score of the year for the Indianapolis AlleyCats. And if it is, how fitting that it's Carson Chamberlain who came over from Detroit to help bolster the AlleyCats this season.
He's had a great season in Indianapolis, and I know that the AlleyCats are very excited to have gotten him from the Mechanics. You're right, great ending. If it is, I mean, we've still got 4 seconds. We've seen some crazy end-of-quarter plays, but not much to shoot for here on the last one, as the Thunderbirds aren't going to overcome this deficit.
Some noteworthy games in the UFA tomorrow. Chicago Union against the Madison Radicals at 5 o'clock. The Minnesota Wind Chill against the Mechanics of Detroit at 5. The Vegas Bighorns against the LA Aviators at 2 o'clock LA time, 5 o'clock Eastern. So plenty of UFA action with the playoffs around the corner. 4 seconds to work with. The throw there to Jonathan Mast. 2-1 into the hands of Jimmy Toll. Game over and season over. The Indianapolis AlleyCats close it in style with a 25-18 win over their rival from Pittsburgh, the Pittsburgh Thunderbirds. They avenged the loss they had earlier in the season on May 2nd, and they close out the season with a 4-8 record, and they win their last 2 games. Pittsburgh finishes the year at 3-9 with wins over Detroit and Toronto, and of course Indy in the first game. But what a end of the season for the Indianapolis AlleyCats. We'll take a brief timeout. When we come back, we'll have our post-game analysis and also our post-game conversation with our player of the game, Jason Kemp, on WatchUFA.tv.
Tying a team record with 6 blocks.
Careful what you say, cause you on a front line. Yeah, we going quick, moving like a timeline. Yeah, I got a lot of enemies that try to take control of me. So I put it in the
Bench has the step downfield. And he'll go for the assist as well. From one layout to another, the AlleyCats find a way to get it done.
High-powered point there.
Going for Havey. Havey's able to get there! On Fetch dives and he got it! Oh my goodness, Nicholas Fetch.
What you say, cause you on a front line. Yeah, we going quick, moving like a time, right? Yeah, I got a lot of enemies that try to take control of me. So I put it in the past so they won't notice me.
And he'll go for the assist as well. Goodman from one layout to another.
That's a fitting way to come back from a commercial break. Yeah, go to myalleycats.com. You can get all kinds of great gear, looking at tickets for next season. And, boy, they have got a good thing going here that they built on at the end of this with 2 wins to close out the year. The AlleyCats finished their season with a record of 4-8, and they beat their rival, the Pittsburgh Thunderbirds, 25-18. And along with Kelsey Sparks, I'm John Herrick, back with you for the final time. The AlleyCat players enjoying this moment with their fans. A lot of family members here, lots to celebrate. Kelsey, I know it didn't quite go their way, but, you know, throughout the season, some tough moments. Of course, the Central Division was incredibly tough this year with the Chicago Union at 10-0, Minnesota at 8-3. But for the AlleyCats to be as young as they were, coming in, learning a new offense, playing in a new venue, you had a feeling that there would be some learning curves, but to close out the season the way they did, especially against a team that beat them to start off the year, they got to feel great about that.
Absolutely. Poetic way to bookend the season, like Coach Drew Shepard mentioned. Obviously, tough loss to the Thunderbirds to start back in May. And so you can see just how much the AlleyCats have grown this season to be able to bounce back and get a pretty handed win here to close out their season.
Yeah, I mean, in UFA play and in the situation that we have with this sport, you know, when you win by 7 points, it's not like a touchdown or whatever. That's a lot of points to lead up, and you have to get that in a hurry if you want to come back. So 7 points is basically a blowout win in ultimate, and so for the AlleyCats to have that, you got to be very impressed with the way they did it, especially with the way they started down 2-0.
Yeah, the momentum shifted hard once the AlleyCats started rolling in that first quarter. And, I mean, story of the game is the blocks. 18 blocks in a game is a ton in a UFA game. The AlleyCats D-line really stepped up, and nobody stepped up better than our block leader for the game, Jason Kemp, who's joining us in the booth now.
So we found out too, as Jason will come and join us here. Go ahead. Right in the middle here, bud. Jason, we found out in commercial break that your 6 blocks that you had tonight tied a team record. How about that?
That's awesome. It was so much fun out there. You know, I got to give credit to my guys on my line, given situations that happen, good marks, Ledford, floaty disc. I mean, great teammates out there.
What did you, when you had those plays that you were able to make, why don't we have you take Kelsey's mic there so we can switch that over. There we go. Okay, Jason Kemp now joining us. So, Jason, 6 blocks. How are you able to get your eye on the disc in those tough moments with the wind shifting at times it did with this crazy weather we had tonight?
It's just a mindset of every time the disc is in the air, it's yours. You can't let it think it's anyone else's. We have great coaching staff to, you know, really push us in practice to do that. You know, Bus, Shep, they're great guys that really force us to be our best.
This win to close out the regular season, I know it wasn't the record you guys were hoping to have, but the overall demeanor of the crowd and you guys, this has got to feel great right now.
The crowd was amazing. It was so loud the whole game. Ending on a 2-game winning streak. I mean, we got a lot of young guys. I think we're looking up for the future.
Yeah. What are your overall thoughts about this team going into 2026 with all the youth that you have?
I mean, so many guys I can literally say are like some of my best friends that I'll text daily. I'm really comfortable with everyone. They're all great guys, and you know, building the chemistry over years is going to be huge.
What's been your favorite part about playing with the AlleyCats?
My favorite part about playing with the AlleyCats is getting out there and playing competitive Frisbee as much as we can. I mean, getting out and having practice, sometimes multiple practices a week, getting to play against guys you don't see all the time, and then now that we're going into the club scene, we get to see them more on other teams, and it greatens the experience all around.
Jason Kemp, 6 blocks tonight, helping the AlleyCats win 25-18 to close out the season. Jason, thank you for joining us, man.
No,
Congratulations.
Thank you so much.
Jason Kemp, nice enough to join us here on WatchUFA.tv. AlleyCats close out the season with a 4-8 record. Kelsey Sparks rejoining us again. Kelsey, I know it's hard to put all of this into words of what we just saw tonight in these last couple games, but your thoughts on what we saw from the AlleyCats this season with such a great nucleus of young players.
Such good things to build on. Going into a tough rebuilding season where you've really lost your core. You lost Cam Brock, Travis Carpenter, Rick Gross, Levi Jacobs. I could go on. The AlleyCats really needed some young talent to step up. And after 12 hard-fought games in the UFA this season, I can say confidently that they have. Jason just being one example of many.
And also, too, Travis Carpenter was here a lot. Nick Hutton was here a lot. Rick Gross, Levi Jacobs. They were all here at certain points of the season to support these guys at home games. It just goes to show you the foundation that the AlleyCats have to help support the future.
The AlleyCats have a family feel to the organization. I know that I'm very blessed to be part of it. Excited to work with you, too.
Kelsey Sparks, great to work with you again this season, Kelsey. It was a great pleasure.
Thanks, John.
I'm John Herrick. Thank you to our phenomenal crew led by our technical director, Jordan Shue. We appreciate all of you out there watching AlleyCat Ultimate Action all season long on WatchUFA.tv.